Sirens sounding in southern Israel today.
That's Fox's Trey Yanks near the border. Officials in Gaza say more than 9,000 Palestinians have been killed. House Republicans have approved $14 billion in military aid just for Israel. GOP Congressman Mike Gallagher just told Fox.
I think we need a separate track of negotiations for things like Ukraine in return for meaningful border policy changes.
But the House bill may go nowhere in the Senate because they want to bundle Israel and Ukraine aid together. At the civil trial in New York, former President Trump calls rigged, denying his company committed fraud like the judge ruled.
Eric Trump, who now runs the Trump Organization, is due back on the witness stand today. New York Attorney General Letitia James is suing the Trumps and the Trump Organization, accusing them of inflating the former president's net worth in order to get favorable deals on insurance and loans.
Fox's Tanya J. Powers. So far, Eric and Donald Trump Jr. have distanced themselves in testimony from financial statements. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A grieving mother. It's mostly sunny and 37 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Demetria Boston is the mother of Janiyah Carr, the teenage girl who was shot and killed at an apartment complex on the northeast side this week.
I don't know how to live with this pain. I just want justice.
Boston says her daughter was about to turn 16. She may be a step closer to justice. Police say they have arrested Tevis Walker, a 37-year-old woman, for her role in the shooting that happened around noon on Wednesday. The officer involved in last week's fatal shooting inside of a Burger King has been identified.
His name is Officer Nicholas Deem. I'm Donnie Burgess. Officer Deem was trying to deal with Frederick Davis, a man apparently familiar to IMPD in that area on the east side of Indianapolis. Davis apparently took Deem's gun and shot him in the leg before Davis himself was shot. Officer Deem is still recovering in the hospital, and IMPD says it will respect his privacy until he chooses to provide a health update. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
State lawmakers don't appear to be going anywhere with legalization of pot this year. A study committee did not approve any recommendations for lawmakers to look over once the legislative session starts up in January. The committee met this week for 6 hours and came up with nothing. Eric Doden is running for governor. He's muddling through the Republican primary at the moment and says that his plan for the state involves kickstarting the Hoosier economy through investing in small towns.
And that's what our Indiana Main Street initiative is all about. It's about, taking 10% of our budget and saying we will work with leaders in these small towns.
On All Indiana Politics, Doden also wants to use state resources to help Indianapolis solve its crime problem. IU men's basketball coach Mike Woodson may not be coaching today if it weren't for Bob Knight.
He was always there as a coach. I could lean on him. Hell, he was the reason why I got my first coaching job, because he had to make a phone call for me to an owner.
That job was as an assistant in the NBA. Bob Knight passed away this week. He was 83. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Bear.
All right, Kurt, northbound 465 stop-and-go traffic from 86th Street up to 865. And in Lawrence, we are still a slow northbound 465 after Fall Creek up to Allisonville Road. Traffic sponsored by Comcast Business. Start saving with Comcast Business Mobile on the most reliable 5G network. Most reliable based on RootMetrics U.S. report. Results vary, not an endorsement. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
If there's anything better than getting a few of your favorite things from McDonald's, it's getting a few of your favorite things from McDonald's for less in the McDonald's app. Delicious. Order in the McDonald's app today. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
When the Colts score, so do you. Buy one Big Mac and get another on us when the Colts make a field goal. Only in the McDonald's app. Offer valid day after Colts game at participating McDonald's. Valid once per day. Must opt into rewards.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Partly cloudy, a little warmer today, and breezy as we head into the afternoon. Today's high 57. Tonight, mostly cloudy. A few light sprinkles possible, low 44. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
37 and mostly sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Hey, good morning. It is Friday, November 3rd, 6 minutes after 9. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So yesterday, the House passed a bill. It will provide $14.3 billion in aid to Israel as they fight that war against Hamas. It is a move that is setting up a clash between the Democratic-led Senate and, of course, the Speaker, Mike Johnson.
On this vote, the yeas are 226, the nays are 196. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
So there we go, some celebration from the House of Representatives.
All right, so there's a lot of layers with this. Let's just get right into it. First of all, we don't need to send any more money to Israel. We don't need to send any more money to any other foreign nation. We give gajillions of dollars every single year. The Iron Dome that Israel uses is in many ways primarily funded by us. We give billions of dollars every year to Israel. This is not a funding issue. It is allowing Israel to finish the job issue. And our primary goal, job, whatever here, should be to simply get out of the way, say we have our carriers on standby. If you need assistance, let us know. Otherwise, good luck and let us know when you're done. It's number one. However, if you are insistent upon sending money to Israel, then it should be offset with cuts to other places. They have done this with cuts to the Internal Revenue Service. Mm-hmm. And I think what is hilarious about this is seeing the Democrats lose their mind over something actually being paid for, and the Democrats being irate that Ukraine funding is not being tied to funding for Israel. And this is the most government thing ever, where you take government will take something where people kind of universally agree. And in this case, I don't think there's universal agreement that we should send $14.3 billion to Israel, but there's universal agreement we should back Israel unless you're a lunatic like Rashida Tlaib. And so what the Democrats say is, well, we've got this other thing over here that really isn't universal and is now super controversial, which is Ukraine funding. Well, let's tie it to the thing that everybody agrees with, because otherwise it's going to be hard to pass the thing. Mm-hmm. And so kudos to the Republicans. Well, again, I don't agree with sending this money because I don't think money's the issue. If you're going to do it, take it from somewhere else and make things stand on their own and live or die based on their own merits.
Okay, so we do have a little bit of a breakdown of what this emergency aid package is going to pay for. And they're saying that $4 billion will go for the Iron Dome, $3.5 billion for advanced weapons systems, $1.2 billion for the Iron Beam, $1 billion for artillery and munitions productions, $150 million for enhanced security at the U.S. Embassy, and also $50 million for the evacuation of U.S. citizens.
Okay, real quick, though, and I don't mean to cut you off, but this is very important. How is it that we just invented $14.3 billion for Israel, but we don't have money to secure our southern border?
Correct. Yeah. Well, that's the big question everybody's asking. It's like they want to put it in this big pot and say, we're going to distribute this however we feel. But that's where the Republicans are saying, no. We want some accountability. At least that appears to be what Mike Johnson has said.
But it also shows how unserious the Republicans are about securing the southern border, which comes back to the conversation we've had. If you can, out of thin air, with your first action as a unified, air quote, Republican House of Representatives, give money to another country, how do you look the American people in the face and say, we are incapable of securing our southern border, yet we are prioritizing other people over our own citizens? And this is where many people get very, very frustrated that there's always money for everyone else. There never seems to be money for the nuts and bolts things needed to make America a better place.
Well, speaking of that caravan, I heard Tony Katz saying yesterday that number is up to about 7,000. That was yesterday. It's probably even greater today. And now it's being reported that under the Biden administration, the number of migrants, that population is greater than what we have in 15 American states.
Yeah, and look at what the Republicans are doing. They are making their priority another country. What they do last year, the Democrats made their priority another country. We always seem to have money for other people, and we never seem to be able to do the basic things. I think we should universally agree that securing our borders should be a top priority of the government. We always talk about government doing things it shouldn't do. It doesn't do the things that it should, which is make sure we know who's coming in and out of this country.
Absolutely. So Chuck Schumer is saying that there's a bunch of hypocrisy here, that by cutting funding to go after tax cheats, it will actually explode the deficit by billions and billions of dollars. And then he said, what a joke that is.
So this statement was very interesting, that Schumer's default view of the U.S. taxpayer is they are a tax cheat.
Mm-hmm.
That was so insightful into how these people in government view you, which is that you are by default, until proven innocent, a tax cheat. Sure. You are somehow screwing the government unless you prove yourself to be innocent. And look, you want to fix, air quote, tax cheats, it ain't going to lie in the Internal Revenue Service, because the Internal Revenue Service does not have near enough money to be proven victorious going after the people that Schumer and the Democrats like to talk about. There is a reason these people are billionaires. They have really good financial people around them. If you want to fix the air quote tax cheats, they're not actually tax cheats. They're people who operate inside the tax code, which is written by Chuck Schumer. You know who's going to get swallowed up? People who can't afford accountants.
Right.
People who can't afford an army of accountants.
Or a lawyer. You
You're
know who's
absolutely
going to
right.
be fine? Chuck Schumer.
Exactly. You're 100% correct. But it was fascinating. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on a local issue. If you let people talk long enough, they'll tell you what they really think and what they're really doing. And in Chuck Schumer's view, you, regular citizen, you, American taxpayer, you are a tax cheat by default until you are proven innocent.
Okay, so this divide between the House and the Senate, it's coming as that government funding is set to expire on November 17th. So we're just a few days away from that. You know they're going to be wheeling and dealing. But Mike Johnson has said he will not consider a spending bill for Israel that doesn't include other spending cuts.
So just to follow up, you stressed the need to be able to pay for the Israel funding. As you know, President Biden has issued a veto threat on this bill. Would you consider putting a bill on the floor that includes funding for Israel but does not have spending cuts, or is that a non-starter?
No, listen, we are in dire straits as a nation, and if you talk to leaders at the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Pentagon, sometimes even in recent years under oath, they've testified before the House Armed Services Committee, where I served until last week. If you ask them what the greatest threat is to our national security, you would expect, most people expect they'd say China, Russia, Iran, terrorism. They say it's the national debt. We have to address it. We have obligations and we have commitments, and we want to protect and help and assist our friend Israel, but we have to keep our own house in order as well. And I think people at home, I think the American people understand that. At home, you have to balance your budget. At home, you have to make tough decisions. And Washington should run the same way. And so we are here to change the environment, to change the paradigm, the way Washington thinks. If we continue on the trajectory we're on, it's going to hurt our country terribly, and it's going to hurt hardworking Americans even more, seniors and the rest. So we have to, while we take care of obligations, we've got to do it in a responsible manner. So I made this very clear to the president, myself, in our cordial meeting that we had. I've made it very clear to our colleagues, House Republicans. Senate Republicans. I spoke at their luncheon yesterday. To every cabinet official I've spoken to, all the way down the line, that we're going to do this in a responsible manner, and that's a very important principle for us.
Mr. Speaker. It was kind of nice, actually, to hear him say that the greatest threat to America was not climate change, because that's been a talking point forever.
Yeah, but he's not addressing the national debt.
Yeah.
It's like he's revenue neutral on this. That's not addressing the national debt. And they don't actually want to address, there's nothing the Republicans have yet done, or Mike Johnson has done, and we're going to find out real soon, because that 45 days is right around the corner.
Yep.
We're going to find out whether or not they actually want to address the nation's debt. But let's be very specific about this, Casey. We're not going to be Obama or Biden. We're not going to be clear.
Let's be specific.
There is nothing the Republicans are doing in this bill that is addressing the national debt. Now, if you had a balanced budget, would this be a responsible thing maybe to do if you had your finances in order and you weren't $33 trillion in debt? Sure. Okay, this is a good way to go about it. But this is just simply moving money. It is in no way.
It's a shell game, right?
You're not doing it. It's better than printing more money, but that's like saying being an F student is better than being an F- student. You're still failing. Can we talk about this Tucker Carlson thing when we come back?
Absolutely.
Because, I am super passionate about Julian Assange.
Yep.
And I think him and Snowden in many ways are national heroes, and what is happening to them is ridiculous. And it looks like Tucker Carlson is going to interview Julian Assange. Is that what's going on?
Well, we'll get into it coming up from 93 WIBC.
The leaves have fallen, the air is crisp, and IU basketball is back with big shoes to fill. Good thing Mike Woodson has reloaded.
Fires up a three and hits.
With the return of Xavier Johnson, Malik Renew, and exciting freshman Mackenzie Mbako. It all starts with an exhibition game with the Marion Knights in Bloomington. Tonight, pregame starts at 5:30. Don Fisher has the tip-off at 6:30 on your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. Their best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
I want to talk to the ladies really quick. Do you have a hard time thinking of a Christmas gift for your dude? Well, if he's the type of guy who spends any amount of time in the garage, whether it be with the cars, the beer fridge, tools, lawn equipment, or big boy toys, Galaxy Concrete Coating can make it a brand new space, something you can both take advantage of because it will improve the value of your home. They offer stylish, durable floor options. They have a variety of patterns and colors, and boy, will your guy be excited. It's more affordable than you might think. Call them today. They can come out in one day and have it done in time for the holidays. It's Galaxy Concrete Coating, 317-751-9070. They're also online, galaxyconcretecoating.com.
At Uline, the prevailing opinion is, if you don't live it, you don't believe it. The people at Uline believe in hard work, and they live it by being there 24/7 to answer your call, having 41,000 items in stock, and offering same-day shipping from 12 locations across North America. Business owners, sellers, buyers, shippers, and packers believe it. Uline is the hard-working, dependable source for your shipping and industrial supplies. Visit uline.com.
Every dollar matters when it comes to Medicare coverage. When you enroll with MDY's Medicare, our low-cost plans give you access to over 27,000 in-network providers. $0 primary care copay with no deductibles, plus a generous OTC allowance. Call 833-248-3906 or go to mdwise.org/MDY's Medicare. Enroll by December 7th. MDY's Medicare is an HMO/HMO POS with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in MDY's Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
We set out to be the very best of the best, and the past couple years we've actually achieved that. For all of the state of Indiana, we've been awarded the Dealer of the Year award twice now. Unlike other brands, that only gets handed to one dealer every year, and we're very proud to have won that twice.
Put the best to work for you at FamilyHVAC.net. Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
It's JMV, and right now get 50% off all fall decor and mums at Miss M's Home and Garden in Bargersville. State Road 135, just south of Whiteland Road. MissM'sHomeandGarden.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
I need the flight records. Dad, I'm trying to find some money for the family.
There's always money in a banana stand.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So yesterday, Tucker Carlson tweeted something out. He announced that he is visiting journalist Julian Assange in prison. Julian Assange is at the Belmarsh prison, and he is facing extradition to the United States on charges of receiving, possessing, and communicating classified information to the public under the Espionage Act. And he's facing more than 100 years if he's convicted for publishing to WikiLeaks, and he's been behind bars since 2019.
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I'm curious if he's actually going to appear on Tucker's program. It says visiting. I don't know if that means he's just talking to him and gathering information, or if he's allowed to interview him, or what the actual specifics of this are. But it does give us an opportunity, and Tucker Carlson has a huge platform to remind everybody, whether it is Julian Assange or Edward Snowden, that these are people who have revealed, in many cases, irrefutable evidence or evidence that has yet to be refuted. How about we word it like that? About abuses by your government. And yet, in the equation of all of this, the people who have revealed the abuses of the government are labeled the bad guys and face a lifetime behind bars, or perhaps even worse, to be tried for treason in the case of someone like Edward Snowden, if he were to be apprehended and brought back, than the people who have actually abused the citizenry to begin with. Like, I have long said that I think Edward Snowden is a national hero. I think what Edward Snowden revealed, and you see the just blatant abuses by the government, the weaponization of the government against regular people. Edward Snowden is not the bad guy. It'd be like if you had evidence of a crime and you went to the police and the police arrested you and said, no, you are the criminal for telling us that this crime took place and the information that you have. That doesn't happen anywhere else other than if you squeal on the government.
So it's like Julian Assange has been imprisoned not for his crimes, but for exposing the crimes of others.
Sure, and it was a great mistake by Donald Trump to not pardon Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. And there was no reason on his way out the door, nothing to lose, that those people should not. Donald Trump is president in large part because of WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. I mean, period, end of story. Let's not, mince words here. And the fact that these two guys, Julian Assange obviously on trial for his life and Edward Snowden essentially lives in exile, is ridiculous, because all they did was expose abuses of the government. And look, the government can pass what laws it wants, right? It can, in the field of fair play, there are ways you go about things. But these people were exposing abuses of the government that were outside the bounds of the fair play in which they were supposed to operate. That doesn't, to me, make you a criminal. That makes you a national hero for exposing what your government was doing that wasn't inside the field of play that they had set forth.
Yeah, there have been a lot of calls for him to be released from jail from all over the world, not just from within this country, but from even Australia. So there was also a recent letter from Thomas Massey from Kentucky, and also James McGovern, a Democrat from Massachusetts, who are calling on President Biden to drop the charges against him, and still crickets.
Think about this. We as a country are insistent upon prosecuting Julian Assange, yet we gave away and freed the merchant of death.
Right.
We are insistent upon prosecuting a guy who simply revealed information of abuses by the government, most of which are yet to be refuted.
But let the guy who actually abused
people and killed people,
sold weapons, he's free. He's out walking among the world.
Does that make any sense to anyone, Casey?
Yeah.
The answer is no, unless you are totally interested in silencing the abuse, the revelations of the abuse of the government.
Here's an older clip that I wanted to share. This is Julian Assange, and he's talking about Afghanistan, but if you just replace the word Afghanistan for Ukraine, you have a whole different perspective. Listen to this.
Because the goal is not to completely subjugate Afghanistan. The goal is to use Afghanistan to wash money out of the tax bases of the United States, out of the tax bases of European countries, through Afghanistan and back into the hands of a transnational security elite. That is the goal, i.e. the goal is to have an endless war, not a successful war.
And if you look at, and you're 100% right, Casey, if you look at Ukraine, you got the FTX guy who I guess was just convicted, right?
Yep, we're going to get to that coming up.
And you've got him getting huge amounts of money, apparently, from Ukraine, and then, giving huge amounts of money to Democrat politicians. You've got the military-industrial complex who gives huge amounts of money to politicians who are supplying these weapons that we are funding. And so everybody is getting out okay on this other than the American people. And so you're absolutely right. And that is so glad you're doing the template now, because that is a brilliant catch and a brilliant thing to put out there, which is it's always the same stuff. It's the same thing Vietnam was. It's the same thing almost every single military engagement post-World War II has been for this country, which is the enrichment of wealthy, connected, powerful people at the expense of you, the regular citizen.
It is 9:28. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of? A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead, and I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Hey, this is Spencer Thompson at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. It's our 96th anniversary, and we're having a sale. Save 50% off Lazy Boy and Smith Brothers, plus 3 years interest-free financing or an extra 10% off for cash. Get a free Yeti cooler or Solo stove with a Tempur-Pedic purchase and up to 4 years interest-free financing on Tempur-Pedic. It's our 96th anniversary sale only at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, now through Monday.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Time to testify. It's sunny and 41 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. The Trumps are back in court today in New York City. Fox's Tanya J. Powers.
More testimony is expected from members of former President Donald Trump's family in the $250 million civil fraud trial against him, his business, and executives, including his sons. Both Donald Trump Jr. and Eric Trump testified on Thursday. Eric Trump, who now runs the Trump Organization, is due back on the witness stand today. New York Attorney General Letitia James is suing the Trumps and the Trump Organization, accusing them of inflating the former president's net worth in order to get favorable deals on insurance and loans. In New York City, Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Secretary of State Antony Blinkin has arrived in Israel. Blinkin is expected to push for humanitarian pauses in Israel's war against Hamas and for the Israeli government to protect more civilians in the Gaza Strip. The United Auto Workers Union is pushing for Toyota workers to join the union after their stand-up strike against the Detroit Big Three automakers resulted in 25% pay hikes. UAW President Shawn Fain says that Toyota's pay raises announced this week are a direct result of the union's deals with Ford, GM, and Chrysler parent Stellantis. And now the stock report on 93 WIBC. The Dow is up 189 to 34,103. The Nasdaq up 35 to 15,033, and also the S&P 500 is up 22 to 4,358. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Tiffany absolutely hated her job.
I was living paycheck to paycheck on a dead-end job that I did not like.
She'd been considering a change with My Computer Career.
I was able to qualify for financial aid.
Just 2 nights a week in a classroom and studying from anywhere online opened up a whole new world to her.
I get job offers all the time. IT is practically recession-proof.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I highly recommend My Computer Career.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
What is 988? It's a way forward. It's a listening ear. It's whatever help you need, when you need it. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline offers trained crisis specialists ready to talk to you 24/7. If you or someone you love is experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis in their life, call or text 988. Want more information? Visit 988indiana.org.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate the paint, do what your neighbor Mark did. He called Rhino Shield.
A 2-story home built in 1992. Around 2001, looking at needing to paint, I heard a radio ad, with Rhino Shield, you won't have to paint again for another 25 years.
Rhino Shield's a ceramic coating. Better than paint.
They're very professional. We had everything done. Everything that would typically be painted on a house was done, and it was very fast.
Our 25% off special has been extended through November. Plus, receive a free TV up to 75 inches just by having your job done by spring of 2024.
From what I've seen on our home, they can easily offer a 25-year guarantee and not worry about it.
Remember, you have until the end of November to receive 25% off. Plus, get your job done by spring of 2024 and receive a free TV. Restrictions apply. Here's owner Shane Smith.
This offer is limited, so call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Dogfight injury? Call Isaacs & Isaacs. The law firm Indiana has trusted for over 20 years. They'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve. Click and get help quick at WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. You had mentioned this previously, and it's time to get into it. Sam Bankman-Fried. His parents broke down in court yesterday.
Oh.
Their son was found guilty of embezzling $10 billion of his client's money. Prosecutors say it's one of the biggest financial frauds in American history. This guy, this squirrely guy, faces 115 years in prison.
Well, but look, again, it is so easy for everybody to point at this guy and go, look at this scoundrel. Mm-hmm. And you would be correct in that assertion. However, this guy was praised by politicians. He was praised by celebrities that were financially, receiving money from him or invested with him. And so we do this a lot in our society where everybody kind of like, look at Harvey Weinstein, another example, where not we, but society, members of the ruling or elitist class embrace somebody. And then it turns out they're a complete piece of garbage. And then they turn the finger and go, well, that disgusting human being. And yet the people who embrace, supported, and prop the person up don't get held to any sort of account. I have yet to hear in mass, now I think there have been some, but in mass, politicians who got money from Sam Bankman-Fried to give that money back.
Yeah. I was thinking about that as well. And you know what kind of shocks me about this entire thing? I mean, this case moved at lightning speed, right?
Yes.
It just started a month ago, and they've already, done all the work and found him guilty. How long? Couple questions. How long do you think he'll actually serve? I mean, they're saying 115 years. Do you think he'll stay there the rest of his life?
Obviously, unless he's got some magic sauce, he ain't going to live to be 100 and whatever.
Correct.
I mean, who knows? I think it's very unlikely in any of the foreseeable future that he's going to get out, because obviously the case will be fresh in people's minds. Here's the other side of it, though, Casey.
Yeah.
Which is, this is another example of people who got involved in things to which they did not understand, because nobody understands cryptocurrency.
They believe this guy.
Yeah, but you've got to have some level of understanding of where your money's going. I'm not saying you've got to have an intricate knowledge of it. I'm saying you have to have some level of understanding of where your money's going and how it's being spent. And the reality remains that there's like 7 people in this world who actually understand cryptocurrency, which is why you've seen huge movement, both positive and negative, in cryptocurrency over the past 3 or 4 years. Let's see, what is Bitcoin at now? Okay, so Bitcoin is essentially half of where it was, whatever that was, 2 or 3 years ago. I think it was at one point like $66,000 or $68,000. It's now at 34. Now, that's also, though, way up from where it was at its low, whatever that was, a year and a half, 2 years ago, which was, I think, got down to 16,000 or something like that. That is not a reliable way to plan your future. You're essentially penny stocking. It's a hyper amped up version of penny stocking at this point, where maybe you get lucky and it hits big one day, but then maybe you lose everything on the next thing. You simply don't know. These rapid, I mean, it's down $569.90 so far today. That's a colossal amount of money. And I would be willing to wager that the majority of people who are in crypto cannot explain why it's going up or why it's going down.
Yeah.
And your husband is in the collectibles industry. He will tell you as well as anyone that in 2020, 2021, when people were also getting into crypto en masse, they were also getting into collectibles. And you saw ridiculous prices paid for sports memorabilia that is now being sold at a fraction of the price because there was no rhyme or reason to support the prices for the thing other than people flooded into that market because it was the hip, cool thing to do.
Now, on January 1st of 22, I put $100 into Ethereum.
Yeah.
And from time to time over the past year and a half, we have checked in on my investment to see how it's done. And I believe at the low point, it got down, that $100 went all the way down to $28.
Yeah, right.
It now sits at $40.32. So in a year and a half, I've lost $60.
Right. But there is also a difference, though. It's almost, and we can talk with Hammer about this later, it's almost like sports betting. I threw a couple bucks on the game last night, not doing any research about it, not putting any effort into it. It's like, here's $4 on a variety of bets, and it's going to give me 3 hours of entertainment for $4. If I lose the $4, I got 3 hours of entertainment for $4. Same thing with your $100.
Right.
It's one thing to go, this will be fun. It's like buying a lottery ticket. We'll see what happens.
Check in on it from time to time.
You have probably gotten way more than $100 worth of joy figuring out why the hell was I stupid and got into this thing. But there are people who, it's the same thing with gambling. There are people who are betting tens of thousands of dollars.
Real money.
And there are people who are putting real money into this stuff. And the reality is they don't know what they're doing or who is doing the stuff.
Does it surprise you at all that nobody swooped in to save Sam Bankman-Fried? I mean, he was funneling huge amounts of money to the Democrat Party.
Sure. But I think sometimes
he was financing campaigns.
But I think it's Madoff-esque, where it's like the behavior is so egregious. And I think the politicians are. I mean, look, there's video of what's her name, the lady from who. She's a very famous Maxine Waters.
Oh, yeah.
Just fawning over him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think these politicians just wanted this to go away as fast as they possibly could. He's clearly not going to talk based on the fact that he hasn't talked, and he's going to prison. And if he was going to, he would have tried to save himself. Maybe he has decided that he would like to alive himself throughout his prison stay. I don't know. But it's just like all of these people who fawn over these individuals and then act so outraged. Well, what does that say about you? Like, I would love to ask Maxine Waters and these Democrats, where did you think this money came from?
Yeah.
Like, did you look at this guy? Does this guy look like the sort of dude who would revolutionize the world?
They believed him, though.
Did they, or did they see?
Or do you think they thought it was? They knew.
I think they 100% knew. Now, maybe not to what extreme, but look at that guy, Casey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. Like, wasn't Tom Brady one of his endorsers?
Yes.
Does that look like the sort of dude Tom Brady would be hanging out with? Now, I'm not alleging with endorsements that Tom Brady knew anything was going on, but it's like if people just throw piles of money at you, you're going to be like, yeah, cool. Let's do it. And it does underscore, and again, consult your trained financial advisor. When we talk about somebody like Bill Demery has a decades-long track record of investing people's money and getting results. Mm-hmm. And he's also being honest with people about what your reasonable level of expectation is.
Mm-hmm.
He's also telling you, look, here's the track record on this. You know, whatever thing you're in, here's what you can expect. These sorts of things where you get promised the moon, it's like Wolf of Wall Street, where he's calling the people at the penny stock company and getting those people to buy. You'd love to have gone, how you think you're just the only person that figured this out? And if this guy knew it was such a sure thing, why wasn't he doing it?
And how did FTX get a $32 billion valuation?
This is why you have to be, you cannot rely. And this is why I don't do the stock market per se, Casey, because you're totally dependent upon other people. And it's possible that whatever company you're in, if you're saying, oh man, this is a sure bet, you don't know. I mean, do you know who runs Walmart?
No.
Do you know who runs Kroger? Do you know who runs Speedway gas stations? No. You look at them and go, well, they seem like reputable companies and they're doing very well, but so did Enron at one point. You just simply don't know.
Yeah. It'll be really interesting to see if they change the focus on his victims and if any of them will get their money back.
Well, those people are basically screwed, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that money is largely gone. It's like a get in line sort of thing. If you've ever had to file a claim against someone, either somebody who passed away and owed you money or whatever, you know what a daunting task that is. Imagine trying to get it from this guy.
I really quickly wanted to touch on this. American support for Ukraine is significantly fallen.
Oh.
This is according to a new poll. This is a Gallup poll, and it says 41% of Americans believe the U.S. government doing too much to help Ukraine, and this is an increase from where it was over June.
12%.
Yeah.
So people are catching on.
Well, right. And that's the point. Over the summer, people are starting to wake up just a little bit and questioning where their money's going, especially when you see the border open and people flooding in, and you're wondering, why isn't our money going there instead?
Well, and it's Gallup, which is a reputable polling company. Doesn't mean it's 100% accurate, no. But I thought the other part of this that was interesting, a third of respondents said they believed the U.S. was doing the right thing, which is down from 43%. So that is down 10%. So you're seeing the tide starting to turn, much of it coming from Republicans who are finally waking up and going, wait a second. We've been at this for a year and a half now, and we have nothing to show for it, and we have no tangible return on investment, and there's no end in sight, and maybe that's not the best way to run a government.
It also asked the people how long the U.S. should provide funding to Ukraine, and more than 60% said it should have limits. And 37%, mostly Democrats, said that they believe that the U.S. should continue to provide aid as long as Ukraine requests it. And the Biden administration just announced that they're planning another $425 million in military aid. This package, I think they might be announcing it later today.
All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, the crazy plane lady she's back. She's really annoying me at this point.
She's back and she's beautiful. She's beautiful.
She's well assembled, but wow, she has just already reached a level of obnoxious. And I feel bad because there was a point where I was very sympathetic to her, but not anymore because she is in look at me world.
Talk about tables turning. It's 9:45. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the House passes legislation to support Israel, and the market might be signaling some cooling. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword info 42 to 866-482-9559. That's info 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
My little brother's friends have been camped out at our place for 2 days straight. 3. It's because of the Xfinity 10G network. Internet that can handle a house full of screens at once, with basically no interruptions. And it's only getting faster. When I was their age, internet like this was a pipe dream.
You sound like my grandpa.
Please go home.
The next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through November 15th, new customers can get 75 megabit internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $20 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless bill and an auto-pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service. Actual speeds vary.
Hey, it's JMV here with Lance Smith, owner of LD Smith Plumbing. And Lance, I keep running out of hot water in my house. What's going on?
Well, if you're running out of hot water too quick, either there's a problem with your existing water heater or it's undersized. A great solution for that is a tankless water heater. You could take a 24-hour shower, never run out of hot water. And right now we got a great promotion going, $300 off any tankless water heater.
That's a great deal, and I need an hour-long shower. That's the best. Lance and his local team at LD Smith Plumbing. LDSmithPlumbing.com.
When your health is complicated, it's important that your health insurance is not. That's why CareSource offers affordable marketplace plans with a premium network that helps you stay healthy. In addition to doctor visits, emergency services, hospital care, and prescription benefits, we also provide dependable coverage for chronic conditions like diabetes, too. To learn more about our marketplace health plans, visit caresource.com/marketplace. CareSource, we got you.
Life is all about enjoying the little moments. Don't miss out on them because of unexpected heart issues. At Community Health Network, you receive heart care you can trust. From simple screenings to life-saving diagnostic and interventional cardiology services, we offer it all, so you can get back to the moments that matter. Learn more about our services at ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care simply delivered.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC.
Good morning, 10 minutes in front of 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Can we just say real quick?
Yeah.
I nominate this song, Herman's Hermits, as the greatest backing track to a scene in movie history, and that is in The Naked Gun, where they are with Priscilla Presley and Leslie Nielsen go on that date. And that scene where they come out of the movie theater and they're laughing hysterically and everybody else is like weeping, and then they pan up and they went to see Platoon.
Priscilla Presley just did an interview. Who did she do that sit down with? I can't remember. But she was talking about the death of her daughter, Lisa Marie. And she also said in the interview that she definitely wants to be buried next to Elvis on Graceland. Priscilla did.
Man, and she is like almost 80 years old, isn't she? Is that right? How old is Priscilla Presley?
I don't know how old she is, but I imagine that's probably pretty close.
Well, luckily, Casey, in the modern era in which we... Yes. Okay, I got the number.
We're going to play
What do you...
Price is Right
I know
rules?
the answer here, so what are you going with?
Oh, boy. Well, I know she was younger than Elvis. I'm going to say she's 77.
You're very close. 78.
Oh.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah, okay.
And she looks it. Boy, I don't know what they stuck in her face, but it has not gone well.
Okay, let's talk about somebody else's face who's putting it out there a lot more, and that is this plain lady.
Tiffany.
It's not Gomez, it's Gomas.
Gomas. Yes.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now.
Yes.
So she is out there. She just did a thing with Pardon My Take. That's a sports show.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
I think it's ESPN, right?
ESPN, yeah. So she's posting pictures of herself now, and Hammer sent us that tweet. She's looking very attractive, sitting in the chair with some high-heeled boots on, and she's reclining, and she said, I'm the type of person you meet in the airport. Our eyes lock, and you know I'm the one.
Here's the thing, though. And she's now like on doing stuff with Barstool, it looks like. And this really, really angers me because this person... when this initially came out, you remember at the time, I said, everybody should just leave this person alone. She clearly had... You don't know. Did she mix some things together that caused her to behave in erratic fashion? Was she hyper stressed because she has a fear of flying? Who knows? Clearly this person, because she disappeared, it appeared rather embarrassed by her actions. And then it came out, hey, she has this very high profile job and she just, kind of wants to be left alone. And I wasn't even a person saying, well, we must know who that MFer was, right? Just leave her alone. Let her go about her business. If there's law enforcement that needs to be involved, fine. Appears not. Just let her go about her life and leave her alone. But now she has surfaced and is becoming a glory hound. And the only thing she is known for is totally pathetic and ridiculous behavior on this airplane, which jeopardized potentially all the people that were on that flight with her. And now we are rewarding this person who has no other applicable talent where you'd say, oh my gosh, I mean, she's fine. She's attractive, but she's not like a perfect 10. And she wouldn't be there if she hadn't done this thing. And now we're once again rewarding, and she is exploiting her bad behavior.
Yep. Okay, so just the other day, she had that video about the Halloween costumes because dressing up like her was a big thing for Halloween.
Sure.
And she did this contest with the New York Post, and she was giving away plane tickets. And then that was on October 27th. And then on, what was this, November 1st, she put a new profile picture of herself up online, and it's very attractive. And then she followed it up with a more, sexy picture of her lounging back with these high-heeled, thigh-high boots. And now she's showing up on the Pardon My Take and the Barstool Sports.
So it tells you she doesn't really feel bad about it.
Well, I'm starting to wonder and question if the whole that MFer's not real was a setup and that was a launch into whatever this career of hers is turning into.
She's getting rewarded for horrible behavior. She did something on an airplane that you should absolutely not do, and that is her only claim to fame. And it is just like the Cash Me Outside girl, where you take these train wrecks of humanity, and then you just start rewarding these people. And then we wonder why society is in the position that it's in. It's like when I was in 7th grade, I loved Dennis Rodman. I had the shoes that tied up from the side. I had the whatever his book was called, Bad as I Want to Be. I thought it was super cool to love Dennis Rodman because I was 12 or 13 years old. Mm-hmm. At 39 years old, I look at Dennis Rodman and go, what a terrible example. I'm mortified even at 12 or 13 that I thought Dennis Rodman was a super cool guy. There's nothing cool about Dennis Rodman. The guy was a train wreck and a total zero. But yet we have adults that are still acting like they're little kids, little teenage boys who, because she's hot, yeah, we're going to reward her and prop her up. And it's just like, I see this, and I don't know what the answer is because obviously it's a free market and a free economy, and clearly there are people who want to consume visuals of her or whatever, which is why people like Barstool have her on. And as a capitalist, I'm for people being able to do whatever they want. However, we as a society should take control of this ourselves and reject these entities that are propping her up like some sort of person that you should want to consume or be around because it's encouraging more and more people to do this stuff.
So she changed the description on her profile to include Texas girl, real estate, marketing. We know that's what she did.
Yeah.
She did marketing, but now it includes viral personality.
And so what she is saying and what we are doing is I am monetizing borderline criminal behavior. I mean, I don't think she was ever charged with a crime, but clearly, if you watch the police body cam, et cetera, it looked like she was right up next to that line. She was removed from an airplane. She was behaving erratic and probably scaring a lot of people on that airplane. And she apparently now just doesn't feel bad about it at all because she's trying to make money.
Yep.
Or at least fame. I have no idea what the financial payouts are on this, but she's getting great publicity over terrible behavior.
Yep. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Recently, a new client called me and started by saying, Mr. Morgan, I really need your help, but I'm just a nobody. Those words stunned me, and I immediately called him back, and we're now helping him and his family after a terrible accident. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Everybody who comes to our firm at their time of need is a somebody. I grew up poor, but my grandmother was like a queen to us. At Morgan & Morgan, our goal is to level the playing field for you and your family at your time of need. The insurance company has unlimited money and resources. You need a firm who can fight them toe-to-toe. For right at 30 years, we have fought them in courtrooms throughout America. Our results speak for themselves. And always remember this, everybody is a somebody, and nobody is a nobody. Visit forthepeople.com to learn about our firm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Right now, get 50% off all fall decor, including mums, and 30 to 40% off nursery stock at Sundown Gardens. Decorate your yard and home and save big at Sundown Gardens. Make sure you save the date for the Sundown Gardens Holiday Open House. It's coming up Saturday and Sunday, November 18th and 19th. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com. Tell them Denny Smith said to stop by.
My dad has a cold, but also has high blood pressure. That's why I got him Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure for fast, powerful nighttime relief. Unlike some ordinary cold medicines, it's specially formulated for people like my dad. NyQuil High Blood Pressure is sugar-free, alcohol-free, and decongestant-free.
Vicks NyQuil High Blood Pressure. The nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, cold, and flu for people with high blood pressure.
Like my dad.
Medicine. Use as directed.
This season, it's all about energy. That energy inside you that tells you to push beyond expectations and take control of the future.
Laura driving right side, right baseline, two-hand slam.
The Indiana Pacers are revved up for this season and ready to show the world what they're about.
Halliburton will have to hurry. A long three is good.
It's a Saturday night showdown when your Pacers host the Charlotte Hornets. Get revved up Saturday at 7. Buy your tickets at Pacers.com. Pacers Hornets, Saturday at 7.
An arrest made as the mother of a teenager killed demands justice. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
We need to do more to protect Palestinian civilians. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Secretary of State Antony Blinkin just said in his third trip to Israel since Hamas's terror attack triggered a war.
I've returned to the region to engage in intense diplomacy with our partners to try to help ensure that an attack like October 7th never happens again.
And Blinkin also watched more camera footage from homes of that terror attack showing militants, in one case, shooting the father of two young boys.
And they're crying. Where's Daddy? One says. The other says, they killed Daddy. Where's my mommy? And then the terrorist comes in and casually opens the refrigerator and starts to eat from it. That's what we're dealing with.
He's also pushing for pauses in fighting to help find hostages Hamas is holding and get more aid into civilians in Gaza, where Palestinian officials say more than 9,000 people have been killed. Eric Trump will soon take the stand again at the Trump Organization civil trial in New York. He and his brother, Donald Jr., have distanced themselves in testimony from the company's financial statements. The judge already ruled they committed fraud, which the former president denies, as he also makes a new attempt to lift a gag order on him in federal court,
barring him from making public statements about special counsel Jack Smith and possible witnesses in his election conspiracy case. The Trump legal team argues the gag order violates his First Amendment rights.
Fox's Jack Callahan. The unemployment rate has inched up from 3.9% in October, a tenth higher than the prior month. And there was a big drop in the number of jobs created, a less than expected 150,000.
Hiring slowed down in the month of October. If you look at September and August together, revised down by 101,000. Wage inflation still exists, but it is cooling, still up 4.1% on the year.
Fox Business Network's Lauren Simonini. All that's going over well on Wall Street. Stocks rising a third straight day. The Dow's up 185 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Closer to justice, it's 43 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. An arrest made in the death of a teenage girl at an apartment complex on the northeast side this week. Janiyah Carr was found shot to death after having been missing for 2 days. Her mother, Demetria Boston.
20 days later will be her 16th birthday. You took her away from me.
The suspect, Tevis Walker, a 34-year-old woman. It's not clear what charges she faces yet. No recommendations from Hoosier lawmakers on the subject of pot. It's completely illegal in Indiana, and a study committee looking into the possibility of changing that came up with nothing to recommend to lawmakers ahead of the legislative session. Supporters pushed economic and medicinal benefits of pot, while many naysayers are concerned about its impact on Indiana's workforce and young people. Before infrastructure and energy projects can begin, their effect on the environment needs to be looked at. That's a requirement of the National Environmental Policy Act, also known as NEPA. Congressman Rudy Yakum believes the process needs to be overhauled.
My amendment would require the Council on Environmental Quality to report on current NEPA bottlenecks.
Yakum says one example of a bottleneck in the process is far-left activists vetoing projects for no reason. The FFA convention means a downtown Indy packed with people. Matt Baer explains.
Green, yellow, red, now blue. That also means stop. I'm Matt Baer. The Blue Jackets have invaded downtown Indianapolis. FFA members in the tens of thousands, sound taken in the city, but not always sure where to walk. That's okay. Let's watch out for them. And remember, in Miles Square, where the hosting convention center is, right turns on red are prohibited. For 93 WIBC Mobile News, I'm Matt Baer.
Former IU point guard Steve Alford remembers Coach Bob Knight.
The way he prepared us, the discipline that he imposed, learning how to compete. He was such a winner. And I loved his honesty.
Talking to Hammer and Nigel, Alford is now a coach himself at Nevada. Bob Knight passed away this week. He was 83. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, November 3rd, 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. We start this hour talking about our Attorney General, Todd Rokita. The Indiana Supreme Court ruled that he engaged in attorney misconduct when he made comments on Fox News about the Indianapolis gynecologist who performed that abortion on a 10-year-old rape victim from Ohio. So Rokita, what's going to happen to him? Well, he's going to receive a public reprimand, which he's getting right now, and also pay a $250 check to the clerk of Indiana Supreme Court.
Okay, so let's remind everybody what this is and why it's important. Because I think sometimes when we do law stuff, it gets lost in the shuffle. But this is actually very important. And Casey, I'm not going to do any name calling on Rokita today.
Okay.
I'm not going to make any snide comments about Rokita today. But who you elect matters. And there are certain jobs where your actual qualification for the position matters. Like you elect a senator, it's basically show up and vote. And probably 90 to 95% of the time, it's in lockstep with whatever party you favor. And it doesn't matter whether they were a farmer or a lawyer or a truck driver or a business owner or whatever. You're electing someone to go vote. But in the case of the Attorney General, your actual ability to try cases, your actual ability to have been in courtrooms, your actual ability to understand the law really does matter because you are the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana. It's why you're required by Indiana statute to have a law degree in order to be the Attorney General. And in the case of Todd Rokita, no one has ever corrected this, so I will keep saying it. And if somebody can prove me wrong otherwise, then let me know. Todd Rokita had never tried a case in a court of law pre-being Attorney General. He has a law license, but he's never tried a case in a court of law. He was a Secretary of State. He was the congressman. He ran for U.S. Senate. I think he was like on the Amtrak board, and now he's the Attorney General. And Todd Rokita is a politician. That is what Todd Rokita is at his core. He's interested in politics. He likes political fights. He is a political bulldog. And in many ways, I say that as a compliment to Todd Rokita, which is why he was a good Secretary of State. Rokita and I are way past hanging out at the Bellagio together. But there was a time when Todd Rokita was in political office where I really admired Todd Rokita. What Todd Rokita did as Secretary of State with the voter ID stuff, very good. He deserves a lot of praise for that. But Todd Rokita, something happened to him when he ran for United States Senate where all the things that made him a guy that I kind of looked at and admired. And he was an okay congressman. He wasn't great. He wasn't horrible. He was a congressman. He was fine. He was a conservative congressman. The things that I admired about him totally went out the window, and he did what people in politics so often do, which is they lose themselves in order to be what they think the people want them to be to obtain the office they wish to obtain. And the stuff that he did on this radio station and other things is well documented. We're not going to rehash it. The problem is when you run for an office because you want to be in politics that requires an actual skill set. which in the case of attorney general is to understand and enforce the law, and you don't have that skill set, you are prone to make mistakes like this that get you in big trouble, which is what we warned about when Rokita was running at that convention in 2020. Look, I know Curtis Hill had baggage, but Curtis Hill was actually a pretty good attorney general. I didn't agree with everything Curtis did, but nobody doubted Curtis Hill had been in courtrooms. He understood the law. He understood how to try cases. He understood how the process worked. And so many people were like, well, Rokita's conservative. It doesn't matter. The attorney general's job is about enforcing the law of the state of Indiana. The political views, in a very weird way, aren't all that important. Now, do you want some leftist who's going to pick and choose what laws they enforce? No. But it doesn't necessarily mean, well, this guy's slightly more conservative than this guy. That doesn't matter. And so what happened here is Rokita, this abortion doctor in Indiana, performs this abortion on this little girl. That case is well documented. She was allegedly raped, and this doctor performs this abortion, and she essentially outs herself. I believe it was Indy Star, and says, I did this, and I am the person. Well, the correct response here when an abortion doctor does that, if you have concerns about what she had done, is we're going to investigate this and see if any impropriety was committed. That is fine. That is great. Everybody supported Todd Rokita doing that. No problem with that whatsoever. The issue is he went on Fox News and starts flapping his gums about this woman and about this case. And that is not how a person who is a law enforcement officer is supposed to behave, because you potentially then, and this is essentially what the Supreme Court said, is you taint the people who might be hearing this case or presiding over the case or ruling on the case. It's totally unprofessional behavior from an attorney. It's fine for Todd Rokita to have done this as a congressman. It's fine for him to have done it as a senator. It would be fine for him to have done it as a secretary of state. It is not fine for you to do this as the attorney general, and it bit him in the backside, which we told you from the moment. Look, I'm not a lawyer. I shouldn't be able to look at something and go, that's not good.
Yeah.
And everybody, I mean, it was almost universal. People looked at this, even people who like Rokita, and were like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah. He did it to himself. He should have just kept his mouth shut and everything would have been okay.
Just followed the evidence, followed the law, because ultimately I believe there was in front of the medical licensing board some rulings against, or ruling, I can't remember, against the doctor. And that's great. If she did something wrong, there is a process for that to play out. They worked through that process and the case was ultimately resolved. But Rokita ended up getting, in a weird way, more bad publicity out of it than she did.
Right.
Because he couldn't constrain himself, because Todd Rokita's default movement is politics first, and he is in a position where that should be the exact opposite of what his instinct is. The person in there should be their exact their instinct should be the exact opposite.
So he issued a statement yesterday, and he's continuing to criticize the doctor. And he said that they could have fought over his truthful 16-word answer on Fox, but he wanted to save a lot of taxpayer money and distraction. Thank you for doing that. He's signing this affidavit without any modifications. Of course, Bernard, the doctor, said, let the reprimand speak for itself. And Rokita is sticking by it, though. He said, at the time, my words are factual. So I don't think he regrets it.
No, that's what I don't understand is, so he essentially admits wrongdoing. Now, again, this is not a criminal court of law. We have new listeners all the time. Lawyers, and you will laugh when you hear this, are technically held to a higher standard of conduct than regular people. And there is a body that oversees this. And if you complain about a lawyer, then there's a group of people who look at the complaint, and then if they decide there's merit to the complaint, they go forward to the Indiana Supreme Court. They try the case. Again, there's no criminal penalty to it. It wasn't like Todd Rokita was going to end up in jail. But then there are repercussions based on if the Supreme Court finds in favor of the commission who's trying the case. It could be everything like, law license. I believe fines are part of it, which I think was part of part of this. He paid court costs or whatever.
$250.
And then obviously reprimands. So, for example, when Curtis Hill got in hot water, even though he was cleared of any criminal wrongdoing, any ethical wrongdoing by the state, the civil suits, I believe, were thrown out, he was still, by this commission, found to have committed some sort of, I'm trying not to get the wording wrong here, but he was found to have done wrong by the standard he is held to, and I believe his law license was suspended for 30 days. Now, Rokita didn't get his law license suspended, but this court was rebuking that behavior. And if we're going to be mad at Letitia James in New York, and we're going to be mad at Fannie, what you talking about, Willis in Georgia for their behavior outside of the scope related to Donald Trump, then we also have to be critical of Todd Rokita because it was his own lack of constraint that potentially tainted the justice system. And the job of the chief law enforcement officer for the state should be to get justice wherever that leads us.
It is 15 minutes after 10.
Real
it's
quick.
Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Real quick, before we go to a break, and since we're talking about Rokita, this is the perfect time to put this out there. How Todd Rokita, who will investigate everything from TikTok to Facebook and all points in between, how he is not commandeering some sort of investigation to what the hell's going on in Delphi is beyond me.
Yes.
And I don't want to hear anything about.
Thank you for reminding me because I wrote that down.
Can let's take a break and talk about this when we come back.
Okay.
Because I've heard all sorts of excuses on this, and I'm not buying any of it because this is so ridiculous what's going on in Delphi right now, and this whole Delphi case.
And why hasn't he stepped in?
Yeah, let's talk about that when we come back.
All right, it is 16 after 10 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, you didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, son.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
With autumn here, let the friendly curb appeal competition begin. Some home issues are just an eyesore, but some could also be indications of greater damage to your home. If you notice things like a leaning brick porch, an uneven concrete driveway, if your pool deck is covered in cracks, or if you have an uneven sidewalk that someone could trip over, it's time to get the professionals involved. Call on Indiana Foundation Service to help bring back the curb appeal and safety of your home. Indiana Foundation Service knows what works and what doesn't. Their concrete lifting solution will save the day, keeping your family and neighbors safe from tripping hazards and keeping your home looking great at the same time. Schedule a free visit with the Indiana Foundation Service team of experts. Go to indianafoundation.com. That's indianafoundation.com today. Indiana Foundation Service. There's a reason they're the trusted local experts.
Indiana Foundation Service. Reliability from the ground up.
Think identity theft won't happen to you? Think again. There's a new victim every 3 seconds in the U.S. Over 15 million this year alone. And many don't even know they're victims. LifeLock alerts you to identity threats you could miss, even when you monitor your credit. If your identity is stolen, your dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, do you like to save big bucks?
I like big bucks. I cannot lie.
And the other brothers can't deny?
What? You know I don't have any siblings.
Well, let's just say that right now you can save big bucks on major brand tires.
I like big bucks.
And you cannot lie.
Why would I lie, Mike?
Never mind.
Stop by Tire Discounters and save up to $300 big bucks on select major brands, plus a free alignment with any 4-tire purchase.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
You know what? I will have some meatloaf. Let's have some meatloaf. You want some? I need... Hey, Mom! The meatloaf! We want it now!
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 19 minutes after 10. It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC. So let's share some headlines. Accused Delphi killer gets new attorneys. Motions to block removal pending. Trial for suspect in Delphi murders pushed back to October 24. Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen accuses judge of leaving public in the dark. Judge obliterated accused Delphi murderer's rights by conjuring up finding of gross negligence by his lawyers. Indiana Supreme Court to weigh in on recent rulings in the Delphi murders case. And it goes on and on and on. And these are all within the past 48 hours.
Okay, so I have the great fortune of having a neighbor who spent 20 years plus in the federal legal system.
Mm-hmm. He's a nice fella.
And he is by no means a person who you would say it tends to be on the side of attorneys or alleged criminals, as he spent his entire life essentially overseeing them and revoking many of their probations.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm talking about my dad. And he has followed this thing just to the detail since, the guy was arrested. And he is just floored at what is happening in our justice system in this state and how this guy, Richard Allen, and how these attorneys are being treated. And if you have my dad on your side as an alleged criminal / attorney, there is something really wrong going on here. And when you look at the behavior of all of this and these attorneys who produced this incredible document about what allegedly took place, and then all of a sudden, now we're told they resigned, and then they're waving their hands going, no, we didn't resign. And now they've appointed new sets of attorneys who one of the attorneys allegedly has very strong social media ties to the judge in question. And then you've got these attorneys saying, we'll take the case, the previous attorneys, for free. And Allen wants these attorneys, and he's essentially being denied these attorneys. And the stuff that's being thrown out, and don't count these conversations in the record, which that's what the appeals process is
And then
looking
you've got
at the
the
record.
judge disqualifying the attorneys.
It is. You're looking at all of this stuff, and if the average person looks at something, our legal system should be pretty cut and dry. Like, you might not agree with a ruling a judge makes. It happens all the time. But you would look at it and you say, okay, I can look at this and this makes sense. If you have a group of attorneys going, no, we didn't resign, and the judge saying, hey, you did resign, and then the attorneys are going, no, we didn't resign, to the point of we'll take this case for free, and the guy, the defendant, who has the right to the counsel of his choosing if he can afford it, and in this case he clearly can't afford it because they're saying we'll work for free, and they are being repeatedly denied the ability to represent this guy. None of this makes any sense, Casey. And so my question now, and this is all playing out in public, how is Todd Rokita
not stepping in,
who will investigate everything from TikTok to Facebook and everything else under the sun? I'm not saying it is necessarily 100% in Rokita's purview in terms of action he can take yet, but he certainly has the ability to get to the bottom. He has hundreds of attorneys at his disposal.
What, doesn't he have like 350 on his staff?
Oh my gosh! It's the of the statewide office holders, the attorney general is the biggest statewide office, and it is not even close. How is he not stepping in, going, look, I'm going to find out what exactly is in my purview. I clearly have investigative powers. I'm going to get to the bottom and find out some answers about what the heck is going on, because this is arguably the most high-profile case maybe ever to happen criminally in the state of Indiana.
Yeah.
You've got these two little girls who were brutally murdered. You've got years before they come up with this guy who was there the entire time. You've got all sorts of allegations from the defense that are just incredible about, being misled by law enforcement. You've got evidence that doesn't make any sense on why it was the thing that was sort of the silver bullet, for no pun intended, for lack of a better term, to bring this guy to arrest. You've got this guy clearly wasting away in jail if you look at his appearance. And then you've got now all of this just totally unexplainable stuff going on with these attorneys who he's happy with and are willing to work for free. None of this makes any sense, and I do not understand how the attorney general at this point is not stepping in going, I will at least get to the bottom of this and find out and give the public some information. Because right now, Casey, we are the laughingstock of the world. There are podcasts in places like Australia and all over the world who are looking at this going, what in the world is going on in Indiana?
Yeah.
What is wrong with your legal system?
Well, I mean, can Todd Rokita unscramble that egg?
I don't know.
Because at this point, we've got a full omelet.
Yeah, and I don't know if he can, but the point is if he's willing to try on TikTok or he's willing to try on Facebook, how are you not willing to try on something where you have a guy that it appears right now, Casey, has been wrongfully accused of a very heinous act, and it appears right now that the legal and justice system, people in it, are going out of their way to make his innocence to be proven as hard as possible. I've never heard of a judge saying, well, these two attorneys have resigned, and then the attorney's going, wait a second, no, we didn't resign. This should be pretty clear cut. Oh, you didn't resign? Sorry, I must have misunderstood you. Please continue running this case. And yet it appears this judge is doing everything in her power to not let these attorneys try this case. Now, if I'm missing something, somebody let me know, but nobody's saying what that is that we're missing, and we're only seeing what's played out in public and in the court filings. So how is the Attorney General not remotely interested in this to go, I'm going to get to the bottom of what's going on here?
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hey, let's talk about this mailer that I got. Another new one. This is from the Indiana Republican Party. This is I don't want to say that it's a pro-Jefferson Shreve flyer because his name is not mentioned anywhere on it, but it is definitely an anti-Hogsett flyer.
Well, that mailer's interesting because it is...
His picture's not on it this time.
Well, it's interesting because, as you said, Shreve is not mentioned anywhere. So my guess, and this is solely a guess, Casey, but I do know a little bit about politics, is that Indiana Republican Party has recognized, either through polling or whatever, that Jefferson Shreve does not have the favorability to promote, and the only shot you've got is to be as negative against Joe Hogsett as possible. So what an indictment on Jefferson Shreve that despite, I don't know what the final total is going to be, $20 million, maybe more of his own money that he spent, he can't put himself in a light positive enough that state party can run an ad to people about him.
Did you see, I had put this on the template for later in the show, that it's going to be the most expensive race in the history of the state of Indiana.
And it was so winnable.
The mayor's race.
It was so winnable for Shreve because Hogsett is so unlikable and has done such a bad job. The property tax thing is a great example. He comes out with this plan. To freeze property tax payments for people 65 and up. It's a good idea. It's an interesting idea, at least. It's a conversation starter. The ultimate answer relies with the state legislature. But at least he's looking at going, here's what I can do in my capacity as mayor to help older people stay in their homes.
But why did he wait so long to introduce that?
Why was that?
Why did he not start with that?
Can you imagine if we'd have had 4 months to make that the focal point of conversation, Casey, rather than us having to discuss his stupid, illegal, unconstitutional gun grab plan? Boy, wouldn't that have been so much more fun to be able to talk about the great things this guy was proposing rather than that? And now it just comes off as desperation. It seems like a guy who's behind who's throwing Hail Marys.
So this flyer, after nearly 8 years of Joe Hogsett's failed leadership, Indy is worse. Our roads are in disrepair. Schools are failing. Businesses won't come downtown. Homelessness is out of control, which we're being told by some people who read that Washington Post article that we were featured in, that we just...
It's very safe.
We exaggerated.
Casey, you live here. Do you feel very safe?
Not when it gets dark out. No, definitely not. Murders are up 52%. Indy ranks at the bottom for post-pandemic recovery. IMPD 300 officers short. Indianapolis's 3 worst years for homicides have all been under Joe Hogsett, and on pace for over 200 homicides for the 4th year in a row. And they say, vote like your neighborhood depends on it. Well, guess what? It does. Okay, we've got a lot of voicemails. We're going to get to them next on 93 WIBC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of OreHealth. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started OreHealth to make access to naltrexone convenient and private, to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text REGAIN to 323232 to get a secure link to OreHealth's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word REGAIN to 323232 to get started today. That's REGAIN to 323232.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Full support for Israel. It's 46 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Secretary of State Antony Blinkin is in Israel today. Blinkin is pushing for humanitarian pauses in Israel's war against Hamas and for the Israeli government to protect more civilians in the Gaza Strip. Blinkin says Israel has the full backing of the U.S. in the conflict.
As long as the United States stands, Israel will never stand alone. Today, in my fourth visit to Israel since October 7th, I reiterate that.
The latest jobs report has stocks going up on Wall Street. Fox's Jenny Casola.
There were 150,000 new jobs created last month, fewer than expected. The unemployment rate rose from 3.8 to 3.9%. Also, job creation for August and September has been revised lower by 101,000. Wage growth for the year ending in October rose 4.1%. That's a sign that wage increases also are moderating. Jenny Casola, Fox News.
Astronaut Ken Mattingly has died. He was the astronaut who was supposed to be on Apollo 13, but was taken off of the mission after being exposed to the measles. Well, it was Mattingly's expertise on the ground that actually ended up helping save the mission after an explosion on the spacecraft on the way to the moon. Mattingly was 87. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
To me, the most important word in the world is dignity. There are certain God-given rights to be fed, to have shelter, medicine, and clothing. When many of our clients come to us, they face the great risk of losing much of what they have. In some cases, losing everything. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. In one instant, an accident, a natural disaster, or the intentional acts of others can threaten our dignity. Whether it's the loss of a paycheck, paying medical bills, enduring a life of pain and suffering, or a claim with your own insurance company, or a business dispute, and you can't afford to pay a lawyer by the hour, your dignity hangs in the balance. You only pay us if we recover for you. Let my firm fight for you, your family, and your dignity. Call us for a free consultation. Dial pound law on your cell phone. That's pound 529. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
What is 988?
It's a free 24-hour suicide and crisis lifeline.
And what is a crisis?
Maybe something you experience so often.
You don't even think it's a crisis.
Anxiety over money.
A stressful relationship.
Concerns about a loved one's mental health.
If you are experiencing thoughts of suicide or mental health or substance use crisis, call or text 988.
It's a listening ear.
And it's a way forward.
Every year, millions of people find a health plan at healthcare.gov during open enrollment. They enjoy more doctor visits, pick up prescriptions, and find the care they need. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 a month or less with financial help. Enroll by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Rhino Shield's 25% off special has been extended through November. Plus, receive a free TV up to 75 inches just by having your job done by spring of 24.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. The phone number 317-684-8444 if you'd like to contribute. Rob, I'm so proud of our listeners today.
Oh, great.
They did a fantastic job with their voicemails
Wonderful.
today. So much, in fact, that we might have 2 segments today.
That's just great.
An entire segment also devoted to Bob Knight phone calls.
Oh, how exciting.
But that's not this one.
Okay.
This is just random thoughts and, questions, comments, smart remarks. Somebody wanted to call and make a comment that it is Native American Heritage Month.
This month of November is Native American Heritage Month. We have so many months dedicated to other types of people. Maybe somebody could do a little archival research and say something good about the American Indians, a forgotten people. Love your show.
Yeah, I just think it's terrible that Democrat Andrew Jackson chased all those Native Americans off their land, then defied Supreme Court orders related to it. And I've never heard the Democrats condemn very famous, arguably one of the 3 or 4 most prominent Democrat presidents of all time, Andrew Jackson, for just the terrible way that he treated the Native Americans.
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the Native American population in Indiana is 18,416. It's 3% of the state's population, and there are 2 tribes that are still within the great state of Indiana, the Pokagon Band of Potawatomi and also Miami, which is has a big complex in Peru. Okay.
Also the circus in Peru, too, Casey, home to the circus.
Really?
Big circus there, yeah.
Okay. Somebody called and had a comment about the immigrants and busing them to sanctuary cities.
In light of all the stuff that's going on over in Israel and Gaza, and understanding that we're on a little bit of a heightened sense of maybe there being a terrorist attack here in the United States somewhere, I was just curious if we should be worried about busing all the migrants that come across the border now to these sanctuary cities. At first, I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. But now I'm kind of like, we may need to pump the brakes on that because we may be just taking them right where they want to go.
Well, how about this option? How about we close the border?
Well, that would be great, Casey. That seems like the more logical answer to all of this is not put them anywhere other than back where they came from.
Yeah, especially since October 7th. How about we just do that? Yesterday, got kind of buried in the news that Donald Trump endorsed Mike Braun with all the Bob Knight talk. So somebody, it was actually Trucker John called and wanted to talk about that.
Hey, Casey. Hey, Rob. I had a thought about what you said about if Trump endorsing Mike Braun or if Trump endorsing anybody really has any meaning to people. And I'd say that it does, at least with me, but not in the way you may think. Because I look at Trump endorsing somebody, I don't look at the person he's endorsing in the way, oh, this is going to help that candidate. I look at the people that Trump endorsed as, is this a mistake for Trump? Because we all know he has a real bad habit of surrounding himself with people that do him no good or that do us no good. So I look at the people that Trump endorses and thinking, well, are we doing this again where Trump's going to support this person and this person's going to basically screw us all over? Does that make any sense?
Is he talking specifically about anybody in Pennsylvania, perhaps, Dr. Oz?
Well, look, again, obviously Braun is going to use that. He didn't get near the bounce I'm sure he had anticipated out of it based on the Bob Knight news, but he's going to be able to use that to fundraise. He's going to be able to use it in ads. Maybe Trump will swing through here at some point and do something for him. But I just think it's like, at the end of the day, local elections, so much of it are about connections and relationships. And again, if you're Curtis or you're Chambers or you're Doden, you got to really amp up your attack on Braun, and it's a made-for attack, which is he voted for the largest tax increase in Indiana state history. He's never been held to account for it. He's never explained why it still goes up we have one of the highest gas taxes in the nation. It's primarily rests at the feet of people like Mike Braun, and if they do not, I'm sure they know because they have these very highly paid political consultants, but if you're not running ads against that, you are making an egregious mistake, in my opinion.
And not only did Trump endorse Braun endorsed Trump.
Well,
so it's going both ways with these two.
Do you think Donald Trump has any idea the intricacies of the Indiana governor's race or where these people are on the issues?
No.
This is why I always chuckle when it's like,
no, he has a relationship with Mike Braun. They've endorsed each other back in 2018. So let's just keep that happy time going.
I'm sure the people around Trump have seen internals. I'm sure, as we've talked about those internals, until people start paying attention, show Braun with a lead. How much, I don't know. But, I know Mike, and he's got a lead, and I like him, and okay, sure, whatever. I mean, Trump's endorsed some real characters, though, so let's not, act like this is some, magic silver bullet, and Curtis and Doden and Suzanne and Chambers are just be like, well, Trump endorsed
it's
Braun.
Over now.
It's over for us.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got daylight saving time coming up on November 5th, 2 a.m. We're going to fall back, and somebody called with a comment about that.
Daylight savings time, yes. We should have daylight savings time. And yes, we should be in the Eastern time zone. If we were in Central time zone, in the wintertime, it would get dark at like 4:30. You already say that it's dangerous to go out in downtown Indy after dark. People would be leaving work who don't have attached garages and having to walk blocks to where their car is parked in a lot or garage, and it would be dark. So I know there's not a lot of people working downtown, so maybe it doesn't affect people much, but again, if you play this, just expect that you're going to get a lot of people who agree or disagree. But yeah, it's one of those things.
So when you were off this week, Brad and I had a conversation about if you could pick which time zone Indiana should be in, which would you select? Mm-hmm. And I said Central Time. And he's saying, no, that's going to make it darker even earlier. And you're already complaining about how dangerous it is downtown. That would just accelerate the problem.
Okay, look, you can't manipulate time. I mean, we have come to the acceptance
all
that we
time.
Can, like, time is time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this daylight saving time, no S, people get mad if you put it's like the Kroger's, right? You can't manipulate time. The time is the time. All I will say is this. It seems a little ridiculous to me that it is light in the summer until 10 p.m. at one point, and then consistently in the winter it gets dark at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying something doesn't seem quite right about that. Casey, gut reaction.
Yeah.
Not what you want, not what your preconceived notion. If you ask the average person where in relation to the country is Indiana, what would they say?
Midwest.
That might be central part of the country. That's all I'm saying. I think we have way more in common with the central part of the country than we do the eastern. And I know there's passionate arguments on all sides. I'm just simply saying that if a gut instinct of where is Indiana, you would hear the central part of the country.
I'm feeling that you're with me on this. Central time.
The daylight saving time, though, thing to me is the one that it's like, it should not be light until 10, and we should not be getting dark at 5. There has to be a way to fix this, and at the end, you cannot manipulate time.
Okay, we've got one more phone call. We've got time for just one more, and then we'll get to some more next hour. But do you remember yesterday we were talking about the phrases that are now considered rude?
Yeah.
And one of them was saying, It is what it is.
Uh-huh.
Somebody call with some other suggestions to replace it is what it is.
Alternatives, Rob and Casey, to it is what it is. How about, oh, that's terrible. Suck it up and drive on. How about, life's tough. Get a helmet. It is what it is. Yeah. Grow up. Later.
All right, we've got Hammer who's going to join us next.
When we come back, there is something that is circulating the internet relating to a fantasy football conundrum.
Yeah.
That
right.
I'm going to put out to Hammer whether, one, he thinks it's real, and two, what he thinks the guy should do.
All right, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show, 3 o'clock this afternoon. It's been a long week. A lot of serious stories. Let's have some fun. It's Beer Sample Friday. Let's get after it. 93 WIBC.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home this holiday? 3 Day Blinds has you covered. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. At 3 Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3 Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples, giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. You'll even find window treatments with Motorized by 3 Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3 Day Blinds app. 3 Day Blinds is here to solve your window treatment needs for the holidays. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
Where do you feel the pain, guys? Look, sometimes you're getting older, you feel it in the knees or the hips, the shoulder, the back, but you don't have to let it sideline you. And if it is, talk to the professionals at QC Kinetics. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue. Surgery is not your only option. Take a breath, take a beat, and talk to QC Kinetics first. With demand so strong, QC Kinetics has added Saturday appointments right here in the Indianapolis area. Do you have arthritic pain or pain from an injury? Call QC Kinetics. Don't just live with it. That's crazy. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. QC Kinetics. It's in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel, with those Saturday hours at all 3 locations. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and now in Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I am so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. Their best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
JMV here from Miss M's Home and Garden in Bargersville. Right now at Miss M's, get 50% off all fall decor, including mums. Save the date for the Miss M's Holiday Open House that's coming quickly, Saturday and Sunday, November the 18th and 19th. Stop in to see Miss M's Garden Shop and all the beautiful merchandise, including their lake house section. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135, just south of Whiteland Road. MissM'sHomeandGarden.com. That's MissM'sHomeandGarden.com. Tell them JMV sent you.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by. Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war. whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind. Ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
I'd rather be folding laundry.
This is gonna be fun.
Said no one ever. Also, no one enjoys wasting time in traffic. That's why we love saving you time. Matt Bear Traffic on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 10 minutes in front of 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Hammer's in the studio from the number one rated Hammer and Nigel program. Good morning.
Good morning. Love some Panama. You know how I feel about early Van Halen?
Yeah.
My youngest son, Jacob, asked me the other day, like, who are your favorite bands of all time or favorite artists? And I can't just listen to one genre because I get burned out on it. And for so long, I was jocking the hits and DJing weddings. So a lot of music just kind of eventually wore me down.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick my favorite bands and or artists, if I'm going rock, I'm going Van Halen.
Yeah.
Not Van Hagar. I know Nige is a Hagar guy. But I am classic David Lee Roth, Bloomington, Indiana, Van Halen.
All right. By the way, I'd like to point out you are wearing your Micah Beckwith for Lieutenant Governor T-shirt today.
I am.
People can't. They'll see you, I guess, this afternoon, but you are wearing
Here, let me walk around on your camera.
Okay,
here.
very good. Here,
I just texted Micah
let me get out of the way
and gave
here.
him a hard time
So
about
Hammer
that,
can,
by the way.
Here, you're going to want to sneak in here. Here.
All right, look at this. Look at that. You like that? Plenty more where that came from, baby. Yeah.
You're also pointed out you're not wearing underwear, which is disturbing that I was just that close to you.
I know. Tell me about it. There's
So-
just a thin piece of denim separating us from that.
Denim? I didn't even know him. You're welcome, by the way, Casey.
Hey-o.
So I'm superstitious, right?
Yeah.
Had a rough night gambling last night, and I thought, you know what? Changes have to be made. So I shaved this morning, and today I'm wearing jeans with no underpants.
Oh, how exciting.
So this is the equivalent of a slump buster because I'm married, so there's no slump buster available. And for those who don't know what that is, you can look that up. So I'm just going to go commando to turn it around.
All right, so I gotta read you this thing. I sent it to you and Nige last night, and it circulated the internet, and we've got to determine two things. One, is it real? And then two, what should this guy do? And I've got to clean this up a little bit. Okay. Anybody here ever played fantasy football?
Oh, yeah.
Been a fantasy football
Sure.
person? All right. So this, I don't know if this is off Reddit. I think maybe this is where it is.
I'm going to tell you right now it's fake if it's found it on Reddit.
I don't know. I'm just trying to, I get, this is just a guess. I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, here we go. Ready? And I got to clean this up. Guy in my league is 3-5 and desperate to turn his team around and needs more consistency with running back. He sent me a text saying he wants CMC, which is Christian McCaffrey, who is 49ers running back, probably the best running back in the league. But there's not really anyone on his team I want. I'm currently 7-1, so I don't need to make any changes, really. He said I could have interpersonal relations with his wife. Used a much different term, but I don't think I can say that. With his wife one time if I accept the trade and it goes through. Honestly, it's pretty tempting since she has a huge chestular area.
Cleaning that up for the
Cleaning that
radio.
up again. And I've always fantasized about her. Is it worth throwing my chances to win the ship out the window for a chance to have interpersonal relations with his wife? Again, use different terminology.
So first of all, I think that it's fake.
You don't think it's real?
I think they designed this just for the sake of going viral, which mission accomplished.
Yeah.
We're sitting around talking about it. I've seen that story on a couple other sites, so I totally think it's bogus. But for blanks and giggles, for shiggles, as the kids would say, let's just say that this is real.
Yeah.
All right? Just play along with us here. I think if you're the guy, you have to get this in writing. There needs to be a contract. And sure, go ahead and do it.
Are you making that deal?
I'm making the deal. Like, now, which guy am I? Am I the guy that gets to have the relations, or am I married to a woman giving out relations?
Let's do a deep dive on both of these guys. Let's be guy who is getting the relations first.
Yes. So you're
He's
telling me
7-1.
your options are win fantasy football or have actual relations.
Well, there's the people that play fantasy football. There's a lot of people who the fantasy football might be more important.
True, very true. And I'm willing to bet there's probably a lot of money on the line here. You don't do this kind of deal if it's like a $5 buy-in.
Yeah, you're right.
league.
You're right. You're probably thousands of dollars or whatever, and some sort of championship belt. Isn't that a thing a lot of people do?
Right. So you're talking about big money, but is it worth it to you? Would you rather win whatever it is, $500, $1,000, maybe more?
Yeah.
Or he said that he has fantasized about this woman.
Yeah.
So, like, you get the opportunity to, take care of business, fulfill a fantasy here.
Yeah.
I think you got to go with it.
That's a sure thing. The fantasy football, you may not win.
Even with McCaffrey.
Right. McCaffrey could blow out his knee next week.
Sure.
And you lose.
And he's got an injury history.
And not only do you not win the money, but you're not having the relations with the large-chested woman that you've had fantasies about.
Yeah, and she's a sure thing. So you're going to walk away happy from that arrangement.
Okay, so now let's move over to the more disturbed individual in this equation, because the other guy is not disturbed. He's just simply got a good fantasy football player. What is going on with the guy who is so into fake football that he's willing to give up a night with his wife to get somebody who might help you with fake football, but maybe not totally help? This guy is very disturbed, if indeed this is true. Can we all agree with that?
So let me do devil's advocate here. So remember the movie Indecent Proposal?
Yeah.
This was a couple, I think it was Woody Harrelson and Demi Moore.
Yeah.
And they had some financial issues, but the one thing they had was a smoking hot woman in the relationship.
Yep.
Maybe the husband here spent way too much money on fantasy football.
Yep.
This is going to affect their ability to pay bills in some way, and this is almost the indecent proposal of the fantasy football world.
Boy, I think I'd just get a second job, wouldn't you? I mean, how much money could you possibly lose on the fantasy football?
Right. And if you're that dire, then maybe you shouldn't be playing in the first place.
Yeah, that's also the thing. I mean, because at the end of the day, this is just fake football.
Can you call 1-800-9-WITH-IT and tell that story, the gambling number? Do they have somebody on staff that can assist you with advice on that?
I tend to be with you that this is not real, although there are so many crazy people in the world.
What if they're swingers, and they do this kind of thing all the time, and it's not a big deal?
Because you'd have to have had buy-in from the wife in order to put that out there.
Well, that's another thing. Okay, is she signing off on this?
Kenny's here.
You were traded.
He's just volunteering her for his
shows
buddy.
Up and knocks on the door.
Yeah.
Oh, babe, I forgot to tell you something.
By the way, we're getting a better football player, but you got to do this thing.
Now, promising you're not going to get mad, all right? You may need to...
But maybe he knows, he's the husband, right? So he knows what sort of performance she offers.
True.
And maybe he's not
but
that
if the
worried.
other guy has fantasized about it, at this point, I'm willing to bet Britney Spears is probably not going to be what I think it would be.
Yeah.
But still, if it's something you have on your checklist, I think you got to try to punch that ticket.
Okay, what's coming up this afternoon?
So we have a short show. IU basketball comes on at 5:30. So that means an earlier Beer Sample Friday.
Fantastic.
We're going to have fun today.
Thanks, Hammer. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of Our Health. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started Our Health to make access to naltrexone convenient and private, to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text REGAIN to 323232 to get a secure link to Our Health's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word REGAIN to 323232 to get started today. That's REGAIN to 323232.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows that Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Is your Generac home standby generator overdue for annual maintenance or an oil change? Schedule an inspection with a certified tech at Generator Supercenter to ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. GeneratorSupercenter.com.
Tune in Saturdays 9 to 1 for the Home and Garden Show for advice and fun. Brought to you by Michaelis. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it.
Refresh, restore, and protect your home. Call ZeroRes to clean the right way so services stay cleaner longer without harmful chemicals. ZeroResIndy.com or 388-5141.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the arrest and the mother's demand for justice. Plus, John Herrick reports on another chapter in the odd story involving a constable, and his home was damaged, and now police have arrested the person who did it. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News Radio at the top of the hour. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
Another show of support for Israel. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
We need to continue to prevent escalation of this conflict.
Secretary of State Antony Blinkin in Israel says they must keep attacking Hamas inside Gaza to prevent another terror attack like last month, but
I spoke to Israeli leaders about tangible steps that can be taken to increase the sustained delivery of food, water, medicine, fuel, and other essential needs.
Now, the leader of the Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah also spoke out today that the U.S. is silent on the thousands of Palestinian children killed in the Gaza bombings, among the more than 9,000 deaths in all. Assad Nasrallah also says they will not be intimidated by U.S. warnings.
He says, some claim we are about to engage in the war. We have been engaged since October 8th. We've seen that rocket fire and mortar fire from southern Lebanon into northern Israel. Hezbollah ramping up attacks overnight against Israeli forces that are now responding with airstrikes in southern Lebanon.
Well, that's Fox's Trey Yingst in southern Israel. Amid a record surge of illegal southern border crossings, President Biden is meeting with Central American leaders.
We committed to work together to address the historic levels of migration impacting all of our countries.
Later today, the president will go to Lewiston, Maine, meeting with victims' families and survivors of last week's mass shooting that left 18 people dead. Eric Trump is back on the witness stand at the Trump Organization's civil trial. Fox's Nate Foy outside the court in New York.
He's the only witness today, so when his testimony concludes, the court will break until Monday when his father, former President Donald Trump, will take the stand himself. Now, Trump, Eric Trump, and Donald Trump Jr. are all co-defendants in this trial.
Eric and Donald Trump Jr. in their testimony have distanced themselves from the company's financial statements. The judge has already ruled they committed fraud, which the former president denies. There was a hiring slowdown last month, a less than expected 150,000 jobs created. The unemployment rate inched up to 3.9%, but on Wall Street, the Dow is up 154 points. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Could she get it? It's 49 and sunny downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Demetria Boston is the mother of Janiyah Carr, the teenage girl who was shot and killed at an apartment complex on the Northeast Side.
I don't know how to live with this pain. I just want justice.
She may be a step closer to justice. Police say that they have arrested Tevis Walker, a 34-year-old woman, for her role in the shooting that happened around noon on Wednesday. A study committee on pot at the State House did not approve any recommendations for lawmakers to look over once the legislative session starts up in January. The committee met this week for 6 hours and came up with nothing on the issue of legalizing pot. There was an arrest and a confrontation inside of a courtroom in Marion County earlier this week. John Herrick explains.
Denise Paul Hatch is a constable in Center Township. She says the Center Township court manager, Richard Watson, was serving papers and collecting fees, even though he wasn't authorized to do that. Deputy Kofi Amitiona tells Wish TV they tried to arrest him.
He refused, so we had to hold his hands and try to place the handcuff and secure and restrain him. And he fought us a little bit. At that point, a lot of the employees or the security staff, they all burst into the hallway and started a whole scene.
But they were turned away when they got there because the sheriff's office says they can only jail those who have been arrested by people who have the proper authority. A judge ruled that Hatch was unable to perform her duties back in mid-October. John Hervick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
A Fishers man who was sitting in his living room watching a baseball game when a getaway driver crashed into his house says he was lucky to be alive.
At that moment, I turned off the lights, got up from the chair, and had taken one step, and I heard this sonic boom.
Joe Burnsworth says that he is happy to know that police working the case have made an arrest. Tegan Hunt faces several charges. IU faces Marion tonight on the hardwood, an exhibition play. Tip-off at 6:30. Catch the game live right here on 93 WIBC. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. The Christmas season. I just love it. Won't you join us this Thursday through Sunday for our Christmas open house at all of our locations? You'll find the best prices of the season on Christmas gifts, ornaments, collectibles, accents, and more. Come in and pick up your open house coupons for additional savings up to 50% off select items. You'll also want to look at Indiana's largest selection of pre-lit Christmas trees ranging from 2 to 14 foot tall. And this Thursday through Sunday, save an extra 10% off all artificial Christmas trees, already reduced 30%. And again, at our 71st and Keystone store, climb aboard the Sullivan Express train and visit Santa. Book your tickets at sullivanhardware.com. Best prices of the season this Thursday through Sunday. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn in Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan, 114th and Allisonville Road in Fishers.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Friday, November 3rd. It is 5 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So let's talk about what President Biden said, that he thought there should be a humanitarian pause in the Israel-Hamas war. He said that after a speech he gave on Wednesday. He was interrupted by a protester calling for a ceasefire, and he said, I think we need a pause. So that's quite the departure from what he's been saying. He has been saying all along that they're not going to dictate how Israel carries out their military operations in response to the Hamas attack, but now he wants a pause.
Well, what does that even mean?
Exactly.
I mean, what is this? Like, okay, in the Civil War, there was a pause where we will clear the battlefield of the dead. And for however many hours that takes, everybody agrees not to shoot at each other. And then we'll go back to, like, what good does the pause do? If you're going to keep shooting at each other, why would you stop? Just get it over with.
Don't you think that there would be a pause if he was more firm in his statements?
Well, no.
If he instilled maybe a little more fear in Hamas?
Well, but what is he? Well, yeah, I guess. Maybe. How about that for an answer, right?
Yeah.
Boy, good job there,
You sound
Mr.
like
Broadcaster.
Abdul. That's like very lawyerly.
No.
Maybe not.
Because I agree that if he were not handing proposing handing $100 million over to Hamas, it might make them a little more squeamish, but this can't end now. It can't end in a peace agreement because it always ends in a peace agreement, and then we're right back to Hamas, in this case, parasailing in or paragliding or whatever it's called in and killing 1,000 plus Israelis. There is no more ceasefire. It should end when Hamas is done. There should be no more peace agreements. It should end when Hamas is done. And this is what I'm talking about. Israel doesn't need more money. They need the United States to say, we got your back, and just stay out of the way. Just finish the job.
Wasn't there a pause before October 7th?
Yeah, you're right.
Isn't that what we
Right.
had? A pause on any of the violence? Really?
The U.S.
Until Hamas decided to stop that.
The U.S. always operates under the guise, and it doesn't matter which administration it is. Now, look, Trump got a lot further than other people did, but it always gets revoked. It always gets violated. It always... Casey, I know you've been happily married for a long time, so you don't know about this. But for people who have dated the same person on and off for many, many years, it always ends the same way. Because people really don't change very often, Casey. Sometimes they do. Sometimes there are transformational moments or things that happen. But it's very rare that people, while they may, as Homer Simpson famously said, I guess some people never change or quickly change and quickly change right back. People very rarely, especially when it is rooted in the sort of hate and disdain and vile reaction that, like, say, Hamas or the Palestinians have to Jews, you're not fixing that. You're just delaying the inevitable and allowing, when these ceasefires or peace agreements happen, for the bad people to rearm and reset and come back as strong or stronger than before.
Okay, so many people question, okay, well, if there is a pause, doesn't that just give Hamas time to rearm and regroup and use any of that humanitarian aid for themselves? Peter Doocy was asking the White House spokesperson John Kirby about the pause, and here's his answer.
As you push the Israelis for humanitarian pauses, are they just supposed to sit back and let Hamas attack them and attack them and attack them and not fight back?
We have been crystal clear that Israel has the right to defend themselves. I mean, my goodness.
Pause means they can still shoot back.
My goodness, Peter, we're giving them security assistance almost every day. But do we advocate pauses by both sides here? Temporary, localized, to be able to get Americans out, to be able to get aid in? You betcha we do. That doesn't mean that we're calling for a general ceasefire. Hang on a second. There's a difference. There's a big difference here. And we understand that, as I said earlier, humanitarian pauses have to be negotiated, and you have to have a credible basis for doing it in a temporary, localized way. I would also expect that we would get a lot of criticism from you and from your network and others if we just eschewed the whole idea of some sort of temporary pause so that people couldn't get out. I mean, we're doing exactly what you should be doing to try to look after these folks.
So a pause does not help Hamas?
A temporary pause that's localized, that would allow us to get aid in and to get our people out, is a good thing for the people of Gaza. It's a good thing for the Americans that are being held hostage. And it's not going to stop Israel from defending itself, because the security assistance we're providing continues to flow. And a temporary pause doesn't mean a general ceasefire where the war is over. It means pause, only temporary, for a specific purpose.
There's an old saying, Casey, and if you are a person, we talked about this before, if you're a person who ever wants to run for public office, if you remember nothing else we tell you, just please remember this. If you can't fit it on a napkin, you're going to lose the argument.
Yeah.
The people who win arguments are people, and in politics, so I always talk about the door hangers, right? Pick 3 things or 4 things, print them as big as you can, and you're going to live or die on those 3 things. One of the reasons Shreve has done poorly is he has responded to Joe Hogsett. His public safety plan was a terrible response to Joe Hogsett. He's running ads addressing abortion. He's paying money. I've heard him on multiple radio stations to address abortion. You're losing. You're responding to Joe Hogsett. You're playing on his terms. The terms of the mayor's race should have been your terms, and you had the money to make them your terms, which are roads and public safety and where was Hogsett during the riots and, whatever 3 or 4 things you want to pick and go with. And here, he can't do it to that question on a napkin because he knows the answer is yes. Every second you're not killing Hamas, every second you're not pressuring Hamas in fear for their lives, they are rearming and reestablishing a firmer engagement or a more serious engagement than they are able to. If someone can move forward versus backwards, that is not good for you.
Yeah, you have to be clear, concise, and consistent. And by saying that there's a localized temporary pause, which is different from a ceasefire, that is not consistent. It's not clear, and it's definitely not the concise message of we stand with Israel that they've been saying. All right, so Nikki Haley weighed in, and she says, nope, no pause, no ceasefire.
I know Israel well enough. I dealt with them for 2 years every day, and they want to save every single life. They want to bring every hostage home. And so America should be working with them on how to do that. But you don't do that with a pause. You do that by understanding what is the threat to the hostages and what is the threat to America. The threat to all of them is Iran. Iran is waving, their flag telling Hamas what to do. They told Hamas to go and kill 1,400 Jewish people. They're the ones telling Hamas what to do. We have to make sure Iran knows there will be hell to pay if they hurt any of our people. But I've also been there, and I've seen those tunnels. And, Martha, what makes this difficult is they could have those hostages in the tunnels. Mm-hmm. They could have the hostages somewhere else. But these tunnels are underneath schools. They're underneath hospitals. They're underneath civilian sites. And they do that because Hamas doesn't value life, and they know that America and Israel do value life. So I don't think we need to tell Israel to take a pause. We need to let Israel do what Israel needs to do, which is defeat and eliminate Hamas, because Hamas is going to come after us too. Iran is going to come after us, because don't forget, when they were dragging those naked bodies in the streets of Gaza, they were saying death to Israel, death to America.
Okay, it is 14 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Did you hear about the latest endorsement that Donald Trump received?
No.
It was in Florida, and it was from Senator Rick Scott. And
interesting.
the thing that is interesting about this is that Scott did not endorse DeSantis.
Yeah, okay, so this has garnered quite a bit of publicity, because obviously you have the sitting, very popular governor of the state. Mm-hmm. However, Rick Scott has already been governor. So unlike Mike Braun, who is trying to go in reverse, he has no desire to do that. Rick Scott is not running for president. So he has no, at least seemingly now, aspiration to move up. And he is fairly secure in the fact that it is a red state, and he has not done anything overly controversial that would endanger his reelection. And so he's reading the tea leaves, I'm sure, and going, Trump is so far ahead, and DeSantis has had months and months and months to make inroads, and he hasn't done it. And barring some sort of just unforeseen craziness in Iowa, which anything could happen, and we've seen it happen before.
Yeah.
But right now, it would be a shock to every person in America if Donald Trump is not the Republican nominee for president. If you're reading the tea leaves and you're insistent upon endorsing someone, I'm kind of surprised he endorsed, period, but how do you endorse anybody other than Trump?
Okay, so Donald Trump Jr. and also Eric Trump, they've already taken the witness stand in that civil trial in New York. Donald Trump is scheduled to be called next. Ivanka Trump asked if they could pause it. She doesn't want to get on the stand, and many people are a little nervous about her doing it because they are saying that she'll inadvertently throw her dad under the bus because she actually is potentially a little smarter than her brothers. But she asked if she had to do it because it would be an undue hardship on her because it's a school week. And since she's a mom, it will totally disrupt her life and the lives of her children if she has to appear.
Here's what I don't understand with this. She has, by all accounts, not been involved in the family business. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand what
they're calling her for.
What they would think she would add, because there's now, unlike the other two, I think the brothers were both somewhat involved in the I mean, this whole trial is ridiculous to begin with, but at least if we're going to stretch, at least you would say, okay, there is a viable reason, if you are going to go forward with this case, that they might have something to offer. She, as far as I know, and somebody can correct me, has not been, at least for a very long time.
She's got her own business.
Yeah, has not been involved with what is being accused of here. So I don't know, is a school week is kind of a stretch, but the idea that she has anything to add is also a stretch. So I'm team Ivanka here.
Okay, so Trump is scheduled to hold multiple events in Florida over the next couple days. This does include the Orlando area, and he will have a rally next Wednesday, which is going to be the same night as the Republican debate, which he is not attending. DeSantis, on the heels of this Rick Scott endorsement of Trump, has said that Trump should be removed from the primary if he's convicted in any of the cases against him.
So I signed a pledge, Willie, and that pledge is what it is. Now, do I think somebody under those circumstances could get elected president? The answer is no. That will not happen. I think that Republican voters will understand that as we get closer to voting. But it would be fatal in a general election. And I don't think the party should nominate in that situation. However, I signed the pledge. I'm a Republican. I don't think it's going to come to that, and I think we'll get the job done like we need to. But the reality is I signed it, and that's what I did.
So he's saying he's going to support Trump if Trump is the nominee, but he would prefer if that weren't the case. If he gets convicted of anything, he shouldn't be on the ballot. He shouldn't be in the primary. It almost feels like at this point, because DeSantis is continually losing numbers.
Yeah.
He started so high and he just keeps falling, that he's just kind of waiting around to pick up the crumbs.
He just hasn't resonated. And at this point, like I said, it's just clear it's not going to happen. Now, again, Iowa's a different animal. Caucuses are crazy. Weird things can happen. But he would have to have some sort of just super ground game to pull this rabbit out of his hat, because nobody has caught any sort of traction whatsoever against Trump.
All right, it's 19 minutes after 11. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. You had a big meeting in Brownsburg last night.
I learned, I didn't learn. I played out a very valuable lesson that we talk about on this show all the time, Casey.
Yeah.
And whether you live in Greenfield or you live in Carmel or you live in Westfield, I am prepared to offer you, with results, real advice on how you can make a difference when it comes to really crappy ideas by the government. I always have the answer, Casey. People just have to listen to me.
It's on the way from 93 WIBC.
The leaves have fallen. The air is crisp. And IU basketball is back with big shoes to fill. Good thing Mike Woodson has reloaded.
Fires up a three and hits.
With the return of Xavier Johnson, Malik Renew, and exciting freshman Mackenzie Mbako. It all starts with an exhibition game with the Marion Knights in Bloomington. Tonight, pregame starts at 5:30. Don Fisher has the tip-off at 6:30 on your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
Since I became mayor, our city has been through a lot.
Yes, Joe. 8 years of failures and excuses. Employers are fleeing for the donut counties. Roads? Congress did that, not Joe Hogsett. 700 new police? 800 have quit. Fourth in drug overdoses. And he hides that with a photo op.
I'm asking for your vote so we can get the job done.
After 8 years, shouldn't we expect more than deceptions? Isn't it time for a change?
If Joe Hogsett believed in his record, he'd defend it, not deceive us. But the facts of Hogsett's 8 years are just bad and getting worse. I've tried to campaign with respect for the facts, and I hope with respect for you, my neighbors. I'm not running because the mayor is a Democrat or for any kind of partisan agenda. I'm running to turn this around. I'm Jefferson Shreve, and I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs, the Hammer. Have you been injured by a dog bite? Let us take on the big insurance companies, and we'll fight to get you the money you deserve. Go to WeWin.com for your free case evaluation. Just click and get help quick. Go to WeWin.com. That's WeWin.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
The question, is Rob just young, inexperienced, and naive, or, more troubling, is he a fool who has no idea what the hell he's doing?
22 minutes after 11 with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. All right, so last night was the Brownsburg Aquatic Center, pool, public input meeting. Did they actually call it a pool last night, or was it still the Aquatic Center?
It's still the Aquatic Center.
Okay.
And people are, for some reason, really into this saga, and there's valuable lessons to be learned out of it. Because we talk about how to properly petition your government when they have really terrible. I've tried to turn over a new leaf, Casey, here this past week or so. I don't know if you've noticed. Tried to be a better person. Because the lesson Micah gave at church last week is letting go of people who have harmed and wronged you. And I thought, one of the ways I could do this is trying to be more polite and respectful in my responses to others in the government who have I met with some guy yesterday, and he goes, you're right on a lot of stuff, but sometimes it's just your style that rubs people the wrong way.
You're witnessing growth right now.
So one of the things that we like to do on this show is educate people on how to get a desired result and how to effectively petition your government. And the number one thing that I tell people is make the government earn it. Make them play the game.
Well, that's what you say about your vote all the time.
Yeah, it's like when I was in Little League, I had a coach who used to say, make them play the game. And what he meant by that was, if you're a batter, you don't have to hit a home run. Just simply hit the ball. Make them field the ball. If you're a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, the thought that they can field it, get it, throw it, and the other guy can catch it. A lot of stuff has to happen for a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid to get you out. But if you don't hit the ball, then none of that happens. And it's the same thing with the government. And I get that people get depressed about things and people get overwhelmed about things and people get, well, it doesn't matter. It only doesn't matter if you don't make them earn it. And this aquatic center is a great example of this, because for the past 3 or 4 months now, a group of us have made the government earn it. And by that, I mean, call them out, go to the meeting, speak about it, post about it on social media, hold them accountable. And you're starting to see now in this meeting, because, by the way, we kept a tally last night.
Yeah.
We're told all these people want this pool.
Right.
But because we've made them earn it and we have forced these public input sessions, Casey, last night, 11 no's / people with concerns, 1 yes.
Okay.
And one person who was all over the map, and we didn't know where to put that person because they talked themselves in a complete circle.
Does the 1 yes have some sort of financial interest in it happening?
No, it's the guy who is the leader on social media, who is the big cheerleader for it, and it just conveniently ended up on the building corporation for the thing.
Oh, okay. Sure, he's a fan.
The point is, though, there is not overwhelming community support for it. We called their bull crap. And they have this vague citizen survey that they keep trying to hang their hat on. Yet these people who are supposedly all for this, they haven't showed up to the meeting because the reality is people are not. They don't want their money going to something that 20% of the community is going to use and is going to be a financial boondoggle and doesn't do anything in the things government should do, which is roads, bridges, sidewalks, etc. And as we've made them play the game and keep talking it out loud, you realize they don't have any return on investment.
I was just about to ask you about that.
They can't produce that. I'm convinced now they have it, and it's so bad.
They don't want to share it.
They're trying to, I'm not going to use the term manipulate their way into numbers that they want, but they're trying to make it look better before they put it out. And this is what I told these guys last night at the end, because there was a public comment section. We got all sorts of stuff out of it. And this is true for any elected official. Sometimes, even if you believe you're right, if the issue is super divisive and you go it on a 3-2 vote, you are going to lose in the long run, even if you get the thing that you want. Because super divisive stuff should be about trying to consensus build your way. Let me rephrase that. Big government projects, big government things should be about forming as much consensus as you can. And so often people just want to get something done for the sake of getting it done, when in reality, and this is what I told him, I said, you're going to have half the community mad at you that you did it, and then the other half is going to be mad at you because you were insistent, because the cap is 18 million, and then they have to go to public referendum. So they're dead set on doing this under 18 million, which they can't do the thing they want to do under 18 million. That even when you do it, the people who you did it for are going to be mad because that's all they got and it's not what they wanted. So I said, you will manage, because you're trying so hard to jam the square peg into a round hole. You will have managed to make everyone mad and have wasted all this money.
So you said that it was 11-1, people not in favor. What did High Lord Travis DeShane think?
He wasn't there.
Oh, he wasn't there.
And we think we have a speculation. This is why we got so much useful information for the no people
because
last
he wasn't
night.
there.
Because the guy who was running the meeting, to his credit, answered all the questions.
Yeah.
And when they have to say it out loud, it's like they just freely admitted they just picked people they liked for the building corporation, even though every other board and commission, there's a public interview process. He claimed last night they can't get it voted on before the first of the year, which then means the council flips over. I mean, to their credit, the transparency came out last night, and almost every person there, yes or no, was dissatisfied with what they heard because they're trying to sprint this thing through and they don't have the information, and the information they do have is complete crap. And so the point of all of this is it's not about the pool where I live, just where I live. It's where you live. These things are going on, but you have to get involved. You have to make the government play the game. You have to make them field the ball and throw the ball and the other guy catch the ball. If you just give up and go, well, it's going to happen, then of course it's just going to happen, Casey. Get involved. Real quick, I've been telling producer Jonathan, who is Tony's producer, I was going to do this for like 3 weeks, and I've been super lazy and haven't done it. If you're on the YouTube chat right now, you can see he has a podcast, and I'm actually wearing his jersey.
Shooting the Schmidt.
Yes. So his name is Jonathan Smith, and his podcast name is Shooting the Schmidt. Did I say that right? I didn't get fined for that.
No. You said it right.
And I told him for weeks now I'd promote it. You can find it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's a sports-based podcast. He loves sports. He's just a super nice guy, and Tony very rarely does anything to actually promote him. So I said, I will step up and be the father you deserve, the radio father.
Tony doesn't even ask him if he had a good weekend.
I told him, I said, I will step up and be the radio dad you deserve, Jonathan. You can find him on Twitter at __ Jonathan Smith at _ Jonathan Smith. And the podcast name is Shooting the Schmidt.
Very good.
And I said that and didn't get fined.
You did. You
Perfect.
did great. Hey, we've got some voicemails coming up. You're possibly saying this popular candy wrong, and there was a song that was released yesterday. We'll see if we have time to get to all of that. It's coming up from 93 WIBC.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SUMMI to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SUMMI for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SEMI for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I am so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. Their best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Oh, I love this restaurant. Glad we got a table quickly.
What does that sign say?
Caution, wet floor?
No, right next to it.
If you are 60 or older, you may be at increased risk of serious consequences from RSV, respiratory syncytial virus, compared to adults younger than 60. I didn't know that.
Not all dangers come with warning labels. Talk to your pharmacist or doctor about getting vaccinated against RSV today. RSV vaccines, including Pfizer's, are available. Learn more at bewareofrsv.com. Brought to you by Pfizer.
What makes education-based athletics in Indiana different from other youth sports programs?
Our coaches genuinely care about their student athletes as people, not just as athletes. And their top priority is teaching and mentoring, not winning and losing.
Our student athletes play for the love of the game. They have pride in their school and community. They want to represent something bigger than themselves.
Our parents and fans know the student athletes on the team. They've seen them grow up and care about them. They paint their faces, pack the stands, and cheer loud and proud. I'm Robert Falkins.
And I'm Carrie Rosati. We're both assistant commissioners of the IHSAA. High school sports in Indiana couldn't be more different from other youth sports programs.
And we wouldn't have it any other way. Be a champion of high school sports and buy a ticket to your high school's athletic events.
This is keeping education in front of athletics. This is passion you won't find anywhere else. This is your IHSAA.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Affirming their support, I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The U.S.'s top diplomat is in Israel today. Fox's Ryan Schmelz.
After a meeting with Israeli leaders, Secretary Blinkin says the U.S. stands firm with Israel and supports Israel's right to defend itself. But how the country defends itself matters too.
The imperative of doing everything possible to protect civilians, the imperative of doing everything possible to get assistance to those who need it.
The secretary is in Israel to push for a, quote, humanitarian pause. In Washington, Ryan Schmelz, Fox News.
The unemployment rate is up a little bit. Numbers out from the Labor Department this morning show unemployment rose 0.1% in October to 3.9%. It's the highest unemployment rate since January 2022. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 11:35. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. We're going to try and get to all these phone calls. Oh, this is the new Beatles song called Now and Then. It was released last night. Liam Gallagher from Oasis, he said it's absolutely incredible, biblical, celestial.
Biblical.
Heartbreaking and heartwarming. Yeah.
Oh, that's nothing says good mojo and karma like comparing some lost Beatles manipulated AI whatever to the Bible. Boy, that's going to work out well for him.
Liam Gallagher often says biblical to describe a lot of things.
Is that his go-to word?
Yeah, and he's a huge fan of the Beatles.
And
clearly.
And this is why I am the way I am about the Beatles and the Beatles fans, because they could fart into a microphone and people would go, oh my gosh, it's spellbindingly good. Lennon.
You know what? I listened to the song last night.
Of course it's crap.
And I'm a Beatles fan, so I'm going to say pass.
It's very sad.
Yeah.
Well, John Lennon was a really depressing human being. Of course it is.
He wrote the song, or he sang it in 1977, I believe.
See, okay.
The audio.
So
the Beatles weren't even together when he sang that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was hoping it'd be more like a Helter Skelter type Beatles
tempo,
song.
something fun.
Yeah.
They could go out with, no.
But you just hit on a
very
great point.
methodical.
It's not like they found something that he wrote during Abbey Road and it was 1977.
I thought it was something that he laid the voice tracks down for when they were still together. It wasn't. They had already separated.
This is my point on the whole thing, that it is a complete manipulative garbage designed to get suckers to make money from suckers.
Hey, Noah, let's go to Bob 3. So we got a phone call about Bob Knight.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to share a story because we were doing some reminiscing yesterday. IU coach passed away, and do you have it? Yep. Okay. And here's somebody else's memory.
Hey, Casey. Hey, Rob. This is Michael in Carmel. I was listening to Rob reminisce about Bob Knight in Indiana basketball and high school basketball. I was fortunate enough to enroll at IU in 1971. Ironically, that's the year Assembly Hall opened, and that was Bob Knight's first year as a coach. So I got to see some fantastic basketball. Great story. I was a finance major, and John Leskowski, who played at IU, was at a game in South Bend on a Thursday night, and he broke his foot. The next morning at 9:30 a.m., we had a senior finance final, Finance 401. And we all said, well, we know Laskowski won't be at that final. Guess what? Here he is with a cast on his foot and crutches and made the final because Bob Knight said, you're a student first and a basketball player second.
That's great. And I think that's kind of all these stories about Bob Knight, that is one of the things that stands out is his emphasis on these kids going to class, graduating, and becoming productive members of society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, we also got a phone call about early voting, which is going on right now.
My son and I just early voted, and they let my son vote on an expired ID. Just thought I'd let you guys know that.
Well, they aren't supposed to be doing that.
Yeah.
That's a no-no.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be somebody there that'll check the
date, the expiration date, even?
That's supposed to be somebody screwed up big time.
Well, his vote counted, I'm sure. Okay, one more phone call. Hopefully we'll have time to get this one in. Actually, somebody who's working at the polls.
Alert. I'm working the early polls. I will not give my name. But the push right now is for everyone to get, and they are sending tests to the site to be tested for COVID. Not mandatory, we finally found out. But requesting everyone wear masks because everything is exploding with COVID in Indiana, and everybody is now frightened. I'm not.
Okay. That's good information. We've got Susan Beckwith, who's going to join us next.
Exciting.
We've got the Mind Your Manners segment as we wrap up our Friday with Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the House passes legislation to support Israel, and the market might be signaling some cooling. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of? A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead, and I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home this holiday? 3 Day Blinds has you covered. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. At 3 Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3 Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples, giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. You'll even find window treatments with Motorized by 3 Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3 Day Blinds app. 3 Day Blinds is here to solve your window treatment needs for the holidays. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
The leaves are changing. Thanksgiving is just around the corner. And you know what that means? It's time to start making your list and checking it twice. Pro tip, if you're planning to propose this holiday season, it's time to design the perfect ring now. Every Diamonds Direct engagement ring is handcrafted to perfection, which takes time. So don't wait. Start designing your dream ring today. Our experts will make you feel at ease as they educate and guide you to create that one-of-a-kind ring you're envisioning. Our industry-leading warranties will give you total confidence. And as always, our nationwide price guarantee will ensure you get the very best value. Plus, Diamonds Direct has a gift even Santa can't beat. Buy any natural diamond at Diamonds Direct and get a 14-karat gold solitaire setting free. Beat the rush, shop in November, and make this holiday season one to remember. Diamonds Direct, Keystone at the Crossing, the official jeweler of the Indianapolis Colts, and proud to call Indy home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's the season of thankfulness, and I'm really thankful for the talented professionals at ZeroRez who've kept my floors and ductwork so very clean this year. The whole family can see how our carpets and floors have remained clean and fresh month after month. The Zero Res service is easy to line up, and you can go online at zeroresindy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. Here's the thing. There's no licensing to be a professional carpet cleaner, and the marketplace is full of incompetent people with lousy products, but not the folks at Zero Res who are literally the best of the best. Get your home ready for the holidays and get Zero Res for you and your family. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $139. Plus, you'll get $50 off air duct cleaning too. That's right, air duct cleaning, and it'll help improve the air quality in your home, help reduce your energy costs, and it'll help you just breathe easier. Schedule your appointment online at zeroresindy.com. Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens in Westfield. Right now, get 50% off all fall decor, including mums, and 30 to 40% off nursery stock at Sundown Gardens. Decorate your yard and home and save big at Sundown Gardens. Make sure you save the date for the Sundown Gardens Holiday Open House that's coming up Saturday and Sunday, November 18th and 19th. Sundown Gardens at 186th Street and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. SundownGardens.com. That's SundownGardens.com. Tell them Denny Smith said to stop by.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey,
5.6%.
Hammer and Nigel, podcasts. Listen to the station live whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com.
Do you have to be confusing? I ask myself why.
93 WIBC. It is the Kendall and Casey show. My name is Casey, and Rob is here. Rob, do you have your Christmas tree up already?
Oh, Casey, you and your drugs. It's only, what is today, November the 3rd?
Yeah, well, some people right after Halloween, and I've even seen some moms, when the kids are out trick-or-treating, they're decorating for Christmas. So when they come home with the candy, all of a sudden the season has changed. I wasn't sure how quickly you get on it. When do you decorate for Christmas?
Gosh, when do I get on it, Casey? There is usually a moment, usually at probably like 2 in the morning, where I'm like, oh, dang, it's December the 17th. I should probably get that tree up. Somebody who is just militaristic about their Christmas trees.
Ready to go.
Year-round. I think it's year-round. She can clarify here in just a moment. Is Susan Beckwith. It's the Mind Your Manners segment. And this is actually an important segment today for not just the ladies, but if you are a man out there, we are going to give you great insight into the female mind, and this could be a huge opportunity for you to succeed in your relationships with members of the opposite sex. Susan Beckwith joins us now. All right, Susan, clarify. You are a year-round Christmas tree person, correct?
You guys, you are totally ratting me out here. Yes, I do have a tree that stays up kind of in it used to be our formal dining room. Now it's where our grand piano sits. But yes, and then Casey did ask me yesterday. She's like, do you have your trees up? I was like, yes, I have 2 9-foot trees up already.
I can't even believe it. You have a Christmas tree up year-round? Seriously?
Yes.
I do.
I do. Do you decorate, like put Easter eggs on it in the spring?
I don't. No, it's kind of tucked in the corner, and they have very cathedral high ceilings in that room, and it really fills that space nicely, but it just has lights on it. So, no, I don't go that far.
My wife and I went to Susan's house. I think this was in the spring because it was before Olivia was born. And I saw it. It was on full display in their house. Here's the other thing about Susan. She's so, if you think she's bull crapping on this segment about this Mind Your Manners stuff, she's not. We walk in, and no joke, Casey, it took me a minute to realize this. She had piano Bruce Springsteen music playing in the background.
Oh, my gosh, that's amazing. She will tailor her home to her guests.
So she lives the life. She walks the walk. What are we doing today, Susan? What are we doing that's going to be life-altering, not just for women, but also men?
Okay, so on my social media as well as my blog for the month of November, I'm going to be talking a lot about being a great host or hostess. And so I thought we could carry that into today's segment, how you can use or really think about all of the 5 senses to be a wonderful holiday host.
Oh, very good. All right, well, let's do it. Let's get right to it. What is number 1?
Okay, so this is really easy and it's basic, but when it comes to taste, an easy and good rule of thumb is you do not have to have endless options. I've always heard this, from my grandmother, my mother. whatever you have, make sure that it's delicious and make sure that you have plenty of it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So are you saying, I think this is a good point, Casey, because sometimes there are too many options and there's not enough of some of the really good options so that everybody doesn't get extra of the good options, but there's like 93 jams available.
Just make sure that what you have is good and there's enough.
Yeah. It's like vanilla ice cream at Dairy Queen. Everybody can eat it. Do that well. And if that's mashed potatoes or whatever, do that well and make sure there's plenty of it. Very good, Susan. I love it.
Also, along with taste, before we move on, I believe you also need to have at least one appetizer or dip when guests arrive. So it's something that you can offer right away.
Well, yeah, because everybody congregates in the kitchen and they're not going to know what to do with their hands.
Yeah.
Yes. No matter how big or small, people always gravitate towards the kitchen. That's so true.
Yeah. So have something that they can little pick at before you guys eat. That's a good one. All right. What's our next sense?
Okay. So sound, and Rob shared a little bit about this. I think music can create a lot of ambiance. So being intentional with that, thinking about it. You know, for myself, a lot of times when I'm hosting a party, I like something a little more lively at the beginning and then something more instrumental when you're trying to dine so that it's easier to converse.
Mm-hmm. And then when the drinks are really flowing, you want a banger, don't you?
Wait, what did you say? Those kind of just all slammed together there, Casey. Would you phrase that again?
I said when you're having adult libations, you want something really up-tempo so people can dance.
That is that came out much different than the last sentence you stated. So very good. Yes, I totally understand. Susan, please don't tell Micah that Casey just said that. What's next?
You guys are making me laugh this morning. Okay, almost afternoon. Okay, let's talk about site. And I think this is the one where I've been getting some feedback on my website about people that want a really polished look, but they're on a budget. And so I think, first of all, one of the best things that you can do is create a clean and clutter-free space. And just remember, when it comes to your party planning and when it comes to decor, it doesn't have to be expensive. Actually, I use a lot of things, believe it or not, from nature in your table centerpieces.
Wait. You mean like you pick up a pine cone in the backyard and throw it in the centerpiece?
Yep, exactly.
I love that.
So you can't get, better than free. And it's amazing what a can of spray paint can also do. So you could even take branches and spray paint those and use those in a centerpiece. There's endless options. I could spend a lot of time talking on this, and we don't have a lot of time. So I'm just going to remind you that you'd be amazed what spray paint can do. Go to nature. Also, chargers and placemats give a great base, and candles add a ton of atmosphere.
Susan back with as our guest. It's the Mind Your Manners segment. How to use your 5 senses to create a better holiday gathering experience. What's number 4?
All right. So touch. When I was talking about this with Micah last night, he was like, what in the world are you going to say for that? And I was like, well, obviously, when you welcome people into your home, you want to embrace them. And depending on the relationship, greet them with a hug or a handshake. Let them know right from the beginning that you're glad that they are there and they made the time to come.
I would think that also in touch, you want to have different textures around how you decorate.
Yes, absolutely. That adds a lot of dimension. And like I said, I could spend a lot of time talking about all of that aspect. But the other thing that I had for touch that I think is really practical is seating, making sure you're thinking about comfortable seating so people want to stay, and make sure you have enough seating. So think about that prior to your event.
Okay.
All right, that's number 4. And then let's get to number 5. And then I have a very important question for you about something Micah said at church on Sunday.
Oh, no. Maybe I'll drag this out. The last and, one of my favorites is when your home smells good. That is, good smells evoke happy memories. Bad smells may invoke the opposite. I love candles. I love the soft glow of them. But a lot of people, and some of my friends included, they're really trying to reduce toxins with their personal care products, home products. And so a really great alternative to that is a simmer pot. Have you guys heard of those?
A what?
A simmer pot, or like a stovetop potpourri.
Oh. Yeah, so you just take all of it and dump it in a big bowl?
Well, yep, and you put it on the stove, and I am telling you, it will make your home smell absolutely amazing. And if you're like, well, what goes into one of those? Go to my website. I have a really super easy recipe. You know, there's cranberries, orange slices, cinnamon sticks. It's all right there, and it's super easy.
Yes, go ahead, Casey.
Susan, I want to ask you a question, and you may not be prepared for this. It's kind of, it's very political, actually. And I want to know if you have heard anything about this, because I have seen some videos lately with everything that's going on in Gaza with Hamas and Israel. I have seen people saying, due to the flags that represent these different areas, that more people are going to be decorating with blues and whites and silvers this year than the traditional red and green. Have you heard anything like that?
I haven't, but I love it, and I absolutely stand with Israel, and I use a lot of blue and white anyways in my decor, so maybe I'll have to work that into one of my Christmas trees.
Okay.
All right, so before we let you go and then promote your website, Micah said on Sunday at church that he came down after Halloween, and he said he proceeds to see candy at 7 a.m. thrown all over your living room. Your kids are deep diving in the middle of them. And that he then told me, because I told him, I said, you should not let your kids eat candy at 7 a.m. And he said, Susan, let them do it. Is that true?
That is completely false.
What?
Yes, no. Although I'm not sure the waffles and syrup that I made this morning have any less sugar content, but I don't think that was maybe as nutritious as some of the other ones that we've opted for. But no, I personally love candy, but not at 7 a.m. in the morning, and especially not for the kiddos.
All right. Tell us about your very fabulous website, Belle of the Midwest, as well as the Facebook page.
All right. I love it. Okay. So on my website, be sure to subscribe. We're going to be starting a newsletter. There's also a Dining 101 event that's going to be coming out, and I would love for you to join and send your kiddos, your grandkiddos. You'll find lots of great social etiquette topics on my blog, and especially that recipe for that wonderful simmer pot. I promise you, you will not regret trying it. And as far as Facebook, that's where you're going to see really regular content. Almost every day I'm sharing new stuff, so be sure to check it out at Belle of the Midwest on Facebook.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us, Susan. We appreciate that. And you have a great weekend, okay?
You too.
And that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for listening. We're going to catch you back here on Monday. Well, at least Rob will. I'll be off for the next week, vacationing. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Pat Sullivan here from Sullivan Hardware and Garden and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan. The Christmas season. I just love it. Won't you join us this Thursday through Sunday for our Christmas open house at all of our locations? You'll find the best prices of the season on Christmas gifts, ornaments, collectibles, accents, and more. Come in and pick up your open house coupons for additional savings up to 50% off select items. You'll also want to look at Indiana's largest selection of pre-lit Christmas trees ranging from 2 to 14 foot tall. And this Thursday through Sunday, save an extra 10% off all artificial Christmas trees, already reduced 30%. And again, at our 71st and Keystone store, climb aboard the Sullivan Express train and visit Santa. Book your tickets at sullivanhardware.com. Best prices of the season this Thursday through Sunday. Sullivan Hardware and Garden, 71st and Keystone, 49th and Penn in Cicero, and Allisonville Home and Garden by Sullivan, 114th and Allisonville Road in Fishers.
Fall in Indy, and if you hate painting year after year, do what your neighbor Edwina did. She called Rhino Shield.
Over the years, I just got to the point where I couldn't spend any more money on the outside of the house. And when I saw Rhino Shield, I thought that was the answer to my problem.